I mean, the depth of a player like him that adds to your, top six forwards, you can't, put enough on it. We saw the impact Thomas had the first game back against Edmonton. He's just going to make us deeper and better.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. That was Jim Montgomery about a week ago when talking about what Jake Neighbours will provide when he returns to the lineup. And Alex?
He's back.
We made it. Jake Neighbours is expected to return to the lineup. I think tonight. I would assume tonight. We don't know for sure tonight, but he's been activated.
The Blues don't tweet out, he's back, and then him not play tonight.
Okay, so I would assume that he's going to be back in the lineup tonight.
Can we all appreciate, by the way, that, the Blues say he's going to be reevaluated in 5 weeks. He comes back in 4 weeks. Thomas and Broberg did that last year. It's good to have a team that tells us longer, and then it's shorter.
It's nice to be pleasantly surprised when these players return sooner than expected. Jake Neighbours back. It sounds like Alexandre Texier is expected to be placed on waivers. Now, we don't have a full understanding of his situation. We'll get into that here in just a little bit. Alex, what do you think the lineup looks like with Jake Neighbours in it? They're having an optional skate today, so we won't probably see a confirmed lineup prior to the actual game, but what is your anticipation here?
My anticipation is if Neighbours is in, which my understanding is he will be, it's going to be Matthew Joseph that comes out of the lineup. I don't think that's what it should be. I think Pavel Buchnevich, we talked about this yesterday, I think he needs a reset. I would take Buch out and pluck probably Jake Neighbours into that third line just because he's coming back from that knee injury, see what it looks like. But as the game progresses, if he looks like he's fine, then you bump Neighbours up to the line with Thomas and Snuggerud. Holloway dips down to play with Dvorsky and Kyrou, and then Schenn would move down there with Suter and Joseph. No, Buchnevich is out, Joseph. But I think what's going to happen is Buch is going to be with Dvorsky and Kyrou. Holloway stays up. Neighbours goes in with Pius Suter and Braden Schenn.
You want the projected lineup from the Blues that they just tweeted?
Here we go. Let's see.
We basically just played Gets the Lines without the open.
Get the open, T-Bone.
We just kind of had it.
So
the
like
projected lineups based on what the St. Louis Blues have tweeted out. Holloway, Thomas, Neighbours is your top line. Braden Schenn, Dvorsky, Kyrou will be your second line. Buch,
come on.
Suter, Snuggerud, your third line. Torpo, Sonny, Walker, your fourth line.
Yeah, so Joseph comes out. I don't like Neighbours on the right side. I don't think it really matters, but I think Neighbours is a better left winger than a right winger. But regardless, my bigger gripe would be Buch being in. I know why they're not. To what Curbs told us yesterday in the 17 follow-up questions that BK had for him, Pavel Buchnevich, you're hoping that he digs himself out of this hole. I think he needs a reset, and I think the best way to do it was to take him out of the lineup and put Matthew Joseph in, but they're hoping that he pushes it through with his play.
I like Neighbours going straight back into the top line.
I agree.
I kind of like the idea of Jimmy Snuggerud being on that top line.
Yeah, you don't have a shooter on that top line. Like, I know Holloway shoots, but not to the same level that Jimmy Snuggerud does.
Playmaker.
Yeah, I think he's just more of a two-way forward where he's physical. He'll put pucks on net. I mean, he had 9 shot attempts in that game the other night.
And tell me if you disagree with this. I just think he's a better version of Jake Neighbours, personally.
Holloway?
Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
I think he is a more dynamic version of Jake Neighbours. Maybe that's the better way to phrase it. Better is they do things a little bit differently, but he's physical. He goes into the dirty areas. He does all of the things that you need. I would just rather see that with Kyrou and Dvorsky. And I would like to see Jimmy Snuggerud with Neighbours and Thomas. And then I would drop Schenn to that Pius Suter line and have Matthew Joseph with them.
Yeah.
Which means Pavel Buchnevich comes out. But they're obviously not going to do that. I just think it is, to me, Alex, what I don't understand about the way that they're handling this Pavel Buchnevich situation is how you can handle Kyrou the way that you did. And you don't have the same response when the same issues are arising with Pavel Buchnevich.
I'd argue even worse issues. Like, I think the problem with the Kyrou one was they didn't like his body language in games, felt like he wasn't putting in that 100% effort. And even if you feel like Pavel Buchnevich is, the results of what Pavel Buchnevich are doing are detrimental to the team more than what Kyrou was. Like, maybe Kyrou's straight-legging it through the neutral zone and it's turning into an odd man rush. And Pavel Buchnevich isn't even shooting the puck. He's passing it into areas that are turning into odd man rushes and then not winning board battles and resulting in you losing a hockey game.
So it kind of reminds me of when... Do you guys remember when the Cardinals decided to bench Harrison Bader after he didn't, I think it was like run out a ground ball to first base? Mm-hmm. And they were like, hey, that's his game. Like, if he's not going to do that, he is not playing his game. And people are like, well, you never do that with Yadier Molina. Well, no, that's not his game. He's not a speed demon. That's not Yadier Molina. But if Yadier Molina suddenly like didn't give an effort on passed balls, you'd have an issue, and then maybe you'd have to make an example out of him as well. There are different things that different players bring to the table, and you have to exert the energy when your best skills are potentially being used on display. For Bader, that's his speed. For Yadi, that's his defense behind the plate. The same thing is true in hockey in different ways. For Jordan Kyrou, they felt like he wasn't using his speed to the best of his ability. That's his game. His game is you have to weaponize your speed. Now, whether you agree or disagree with that, it doesn't much matter. That's their belief. Okay, cool. I can listen to that belief. And when he's not using that, you decide to bench him. All right, sounds good. Pavel Buchnevich, what is his trump card? What does he do that allows him to get to his game that helps the team win? Well, it's the physicality, getting to the dirty areas, playing in front of the net, distributing, and then getting his shot off, right? It's all of those different things. How many of those things is he doing right now? No. I would say almost none of them, including giving up the puck in the last game in overtime in a spot that you absolutely cannot lose a board battle, and failing to capitalize on a rush opportunity with him and Philip Broberg. When you're seeing these exact same things happen in different ways, but it was taking place with Kyrou, the response was he's got to sit up in the press box for a game. We're making an example out of him. Well, now you're talking out of both sides of your mouth because we're handling another player making the same amount of money under contract long-term in a different way for the same kind of issue. So that's where I'm struggling with this, Alex. I don't understand the messaging here for different players handling them differently.
Yeah, and maybe part of this, too, is they believe Jordan Kyrou is mentally strong enough to handle the healthy scratch and come back and put more of an effort into the game to where they feel like if they put Pavel Buchnevich up in the rafters to watch the game, you might lose him for the next month, and they need to get him going. My argument to that would be you've kind of lost him in these last 8 games. Like, sure, he's out there, but it just kind of feels like it's an empty vessel that's skating around. The defense is not to the same level that Pavel Buchnevich typically is. He's not taking shots. It's not that he's putting shots on net. He's not taking shots, which is a problem. So and then when you finally lose that board battle, to me, that was rock bottom for Buch. It's like, man, Broberg did his job in that corner holding on to Tavares' stick, and you watched the play happen. You can't allow that to take place. But regardless, they're telling you with their actions that he is not going to be a healthy scratch because this was the game that you'd healthy scratch him in. They opted to go Matthew Joseph. So my gut is Pavel Buchnevich is not going to be a healthy scratch this season. At least
that's the early anticipation. That's the projected lines by the St. Louis Blues. We don't have that official, but the projected line suggests Pavel Buchnevich will indeed be in tonight. Who will not be in is Alexandre Texier. Alex, it's expected that he's going to hit waivers. Elliot Friedman reported this earlier today. Less than a week after David Kampf terminated his contract to stay in the NHL at a lower salary, there are rumors that Alexandre Texier is considering the same. He's played only 1 game for St. Louis since October 28th. He's making $2.1 million this season. So this would, if that comes true, be a situation that is very similar to what took place with Brandon Saad last year. It was interesting to me, Alex, when the Blues announced this move earlier today, they did not say Alexandre Texier is on waivers. They said Alexandre Texier is like non-rostered, I guess is what the way that they framed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which effectively means like, yo, he ain't here. He's going to be elsewhere. We don't have an official update on this. I think waivers are like 1 o'clock.
Yeah, 1 o'clock today, you'll find out.
So he'll be on that. He'll be placed on waivers. That's the starting point. And then after that, that's when some of these determinations have to be made, where he can either report to Springfield in the AHL affiliate for the Blues or opt for free agency. The Blues are able to clear that money from their books, which I mean, would be a good thing for them. They're able to save $2 million against the cap this season.
Yeah, really what this comes down to is the player's decision. Because the Blues are doing this the same way they did with Brandon Saad. You put him on waivers, he clears waivers, you're expected to go to the minor leagues. He's due $2.1 million this season. He's an RFA after this year. But the problem is, will somebody claim him off waivers? That's the Blues' first thought. Probably not, but maybe. I mean, we just saw Calgary claim a guy from Boston a couple of days ago that was a centerman. I know Calgary's looking for more help. I know Montreal's looking for help. Minnesota's looking for help. Washington's looking for help. So somebody may take a chance on $2.1 million for a guy that does have the ability to score. But if he doesn't, then it's the player's decision. Do you want to go to Springfield? Because if you don't, you're going to opt out of $2.1 million and take a chance on someone signing you. That doesn't mean somebody may sign you. You're taking a chance on that, or you just might be a free agent and wait. My guess is he clears waivers, doesn't go to Springfield, and opts to elect free agency because somebody may give him a shot for $1 million or less.
He's Alex Ferrario. That's Tanner Hendrickson. I'm Brandon Kiley. Coming up in about 15 minutes, last night gave you a glimpse into both the good and the bad of this Illini team. We'll get T-Bone's perspective on that coming up here in about 15 minutes or so. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved on the Air Comfort Service text line. We also have the YouTube chat, the Graveyard chat, always available for you at youtube.com/101ESPN STL. Coming up next, we're going to be joined by our friend, the Blues analyst for 101 ESPN. He's Joey Vitale joining us next here on BK and Ferrario.
Alex Ferrario with you to talk about my friends out at Ted Drew's, the famous frozen custard that has been a St. Louis tradition since 1926. It's at its finest with Ted Drew's frozen custard, serving the community with unmatched quality service and hometown pride for generations. They've got different flavors you can choose from, different methods you could go about it, whether it's concrete, malt, shakes, sundaes, floats, ice cream, sodas. You can also buy it in the quart, bring it home. Perfect thing for all those holiday celebrations that you have coming up. And starting the day after Thanksgiving, Ted Drew's becomes your one-stop holiday destination with a beautiful selection of premium Christmas trees. They've got top-quality pine and fir trees, including customer favorites like the Fraser fir and Scotch pine, all hand-selected for freshness and fullness. That Christmas tree lot's out there. They've got lush greenery that you can buy, Christmas decor you can get, but it's only while supplies last, so make sure you get out there next Friday through Christmas Eve. So don't wait. Make sure you stop by early to pick through those selections for all your holiday gifts. They've also got the gift shop, the historical museum you could check out, and they've got a new flavor alert. It's the coffee float, a bold dark roast blend with 2 scoops of Ted's vanilla custard. But why stop there? If you're not into coffee, do the same thing with hot chocolate and make it a float. Ted Drew's, it's open late. Check them out off of Chippewa. Ted Drew's, unmatched quality, unforgettable taste.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Happy to go out to the Callier and Thompson hotline to be joined by our friend, the Blues analyst for 101 ESPN and, of course, FanDuel Sports Midwest. He's Joey Vitale, joining us as he does each and every Thursday on BK and Ferrario. Joe, appreciate the time, man. How you doing today?
Joey! The Philly cheesesteaks.
What's up, boys? Things are good. How we doing?
We're doing all right. So have you had a Philly cheesesteak? What's your go-to spot whenever you go out to Philadelphia, Joe?
I don't put that in my body, BK. Come
I should have known.
on.
Now you're sounding like BK over here, Joe. I don't put that type of stuff in my body.
You would never put unleaded in a Ferrari. Come on, boys.
Well played. Touche.
I mean, you are chiseled. You're right, Joe.
Do you have a favorite food city that you guys go to?
Oh, I mean, we're heading to it. I mean, it's kind of cliche, but New York, I mean, it's just the Mecca, right? Because you just got the variety. You just got a little bit of everything. West Village is top notch for Italian right now, but you can pretty much go into every neighborhood and you're going to get something different. It's all within a walking distance, which is huge. So I would probably say New York. If San Francisco ever got a hockey team, I'd switch it to San Francisco.
You could go up there whenever you guys go to San Jose, I guess. Technically, it's a little bit of a drive, but
Yeah, sure.
They have a good train system there, though. You're right. It's not terribly bad. I did it a couple years ago on a day off. I'm not sure with the schedule how it shakes out this year. I would do it if we had a day off with nothing going on, but you're right. It's not too far, but we get pretty close with San Jose.
All right, Joe. We'll get to the hockey now. We can talk about that, I suppose. Good news, Jake Neighbours getting back into the lineup, hopefully for the Blues tonight. What does he bring whenever he returns, assuming that is tonight against Philadelphia?
You know, I used to go to Bikram yoga. You ever done that yoga, BK, that Bikram in the hot room?
I have not done that. I do. I'm a recent convert to Pilates, but I have not done
Joe,
yoga in the hot room.
do you wear yoga pants?
No way, buddy. I go sweat. I sweat it out big time.
That's smart.
Yeah, I sweat it out. I go to a new place off Manchester there. But anyway, I used to go to this yoga joint, and it was hot. And it's in Clayton, right across from the old CBC by the Schnucks there. Shout out, Schnucks. And I would go in there, and it was like 140 degrees, and there was a juice bar right next door. The juice bar right next door. So you're leaving, you're completely depleted, like you got like no energy left. The hot yoga takes everything out of you. And we'd always go to this juice bar, and this one guy was behind the counter, and he's like, "Hey, can I interest you in a wheatgrass shot?" And I said, "A wheatgrass? You guys ever had that, a wheatgrass shot?"
Yeah.
Of course. Joe, you didn't even need to ask, man. Look at who you're talking to on the show.
I didn't even know how to say anything else.
He's known as Soy Boy on our show, Joe. Of course he's had a wheatgrass shot. He drinks this crap that smells like dirt when he opens it up in here.
Oh, okay. So you know what I'm talking about. So I asked the guy, I said wheatgrass shot. I go, what are the benefits of wheatgrass? And guys, this is like 12 years ago. I'll never forget his answer. He said, what are the benefits of wheatgrass? What aren't the benefits of wheatgrass? So I answer your question. You go, what are the benefits of bringing Jake Neighbours? What aren't the benefits?
I was curious to see how we were landing this plane, but I'll be damned, Joe, you did it.
I thought we were going to have another Prefontaine where you can't land the damn plane.
What changes? What doesn't change, folks? Everything. Everything changes because he brings everything to the game. You know, I don't know if there's a versatile player on this team quite like Jake Neighbours. You know, let me give you just one little stat, which you guys probably already know. You probably already talked about it because you guys are such a well-established group on the radio. But he's missed 12 games. The Blues have played 20. He's missed 12 of the 20 games, and he's still tied for the lead in goals. I mean, that in itself should tell you what he's been doing offensively. He's been incredible in the offensive zone. His bread and butter is the front of the net. He's fearless getting there, right? Completely fearless getting there. He's got a healthy selfishness when it comes to when to shoot, when to distribute. He's got a great nose to net and incredible hand-eye coordination. So you're going to help with the scoring side of things. He's going to anchor the top line with Robert Thomas and Snuggerud tonight. So he's going to bring the physicality, the edge. He's going to bring that muscle on the wall that's really going to help Thomas and Snuggerud's game start to open up. You know, so that's going to take care of things, you know, at 200 foot. But not to mention, guys, the intangibles of just the energy. You know, every shift is a jolt for him. That jolt turns into the energy of the bench. You know, he's a player that you watch the way he plays. It just brings everyone's attitude up. The coaches have. I mean, he's at the rink this morning, he's smiling. He's just one of those players that he walks into a room and everyone just feels better in his presence, right? He's got that charisma about him. So I guess I answered your question, BK. What does he bring? What doesn't he bring?
Yeah, we had wheatgrass, we had hot yoga, and then you answered the question. That was laying in the plane there, Joe. So they had an optional today. They skated yesterday, and I don't know if you know this for sure or not. Is Buchnevich playing, Joe? And do you think that if he is playing, they should have opted to maybe give him a reset tonight?
He is going to play tonight. He is a player. And I believe, anyway, that's the best of my knowledge. I haven't heard anything that says it otherwise. And I think he should be a player. You know, I do. I think that, you know, he's got to fight his way out of this. You know, I think that, you know, people sometimes get a little mesmerized by, well, you know, it worked for Jordan Kyrou, you know, could have worked for Pavel Buchnevich. I think the Kyrou situation was different. You know, I think Jordan Kyrou, you know, he was falling off offensively. And, you know, outside of the offensive numbers, that's kind of his biggest thing, right? He needs point production. He needs to find offense. For Pavel Buchnevich, I mean, he's kind of a different player where if he's not finding the offense, and certainly he has not found the offense, but he brings such a different dynamic to the team, though, too. And I think that there are stretches here throughout his offensive struggles that he still has been on some nights the best offensive player they've had. I mean, remember, this is a player that Craig Berube said was probably their best 200-foot player on the team. And this was in the final year with Ryan O'Reilly still on our squad. So, I mean, that in itself, I'll never forget that comment. And Jim Montgomery has echoed that. You know, he does so many little things in the defensive zone or the neutral zone, being on the right side, the responsible, intelligent areas of the game that you really can't coach and teach, and they're very hard to spot if you're a casual fan. So, you know, for what it's worth, from what I've seen and what I continue to watch, he's bringing too much good to the game right now to scratch him. I know the offensive numbers aren't there, but I think that Jim Montgomery certainly keeps going back to him because he really believes in him.
We're talking to Joey Vitale here on 101 ESPN. You can hear him tonight on the call for the Blues versus the Flyers. Pregame starts at 5. Puck drop tonight at 6 o'clock right here on 101 ESPN. Joe, I did want to ask you a little bit about Jimmy Snuggerud because we were talking about this yesterday. I've been pretty impressed by his game this season, especially for such a young player. What has stood out to you about Snuggerud through his first 20 games of his first full season here?
Well, the biggest thing that stood out is that he should not be this good this soon. You know, he's from college, right? He went to the University of Minnesota for a few years there. And most kids that come out of college, it's a much bigger of a transition. You know, you see college players, you know, BK, their journey is typically through the American Hockey League. I mean, this is even first rounders. You know, typically it's through the. I mean, look at just thinking about Trent Frederick the other day. He was also a first rounder. You know, he had to grind away for quite some time. You know, it's very rare for anybody who's drafted in the first round to enter into pro hockey and to have as much of an impact as he has. I mean, he's on the first line. You know, he's scoring goals. He's making plays. So that's what's crazy. You know, it hasn't been a lot of American Hockey League. It's been zero American Hockey League for him. It's been really zero ultimately consistent struggle from him. There's never a doubt that he's not going to be a player in the lineup and play impactful minutes. And I think that you look at why. You know, certainly his size, he got bigger this offseason. His shot's incredible. We're starting to see more and more that he's got the playmaking ability, which leads into the biggest answer to that why question, which he's got the intelligence. He's a smart hockey player. You know, he grew up around the game. His dad played the game. You know, he's been around the Logan Coolies and the Matthew Nyes in college. You know, he's gone close to winning championships at the collegiate level. So he's been around good hockey players his whole life, including his father, which he grew up with the game. So what happens is you end up watching the game a lot. And he watches a ton of hockey. His favorite player growing up was Sidney Crosby, constantly watching Sid the Kid. So you see that enough, and you start kind of becoming what's known as a player with a high hockey IQ. And that's what he has. And, you know, when you make that transition, if you can outsmart the game and maybe get a couple steps ahead, all of a sudden it starts to make up for the weakness you have maybe in your skating speed or your shot speed. Not saying he has that, but all the physical attributes it takes to be an NHL player sometimes you don't need to be at your all-time prime if you're a step ahead of everyone else around you. And certainly for Jimmy Snuggerud, that's what stands out.
Joe, final one for me, and the one guy that I'm curious what you've noticed is Cam Fowler. Of course, he was incredible last year. This season, he's picked up points, but he's third worst in terms of on-ice even strength goals allowed in the National Hockey League. Is something standing out to you different about his game from last year to this year?
I think that the stat there, remember we had some tough goaltending for a big stretch of the season. That to me was number one. A defensive structure that was not solid, and it was not just on Cam. This was the forwards and the D. So that's why the numbers are probably sliding a little bit for Cam. I think that he's moved around in the defensive pairs a little bit. Started the year with Parayko. Since then, he's dropped down with Falk. I think that every defenseman on this team is feeling the shrapnel effect of not having a solid third pair. Alex, you and I broke it down on the post game a couple games ago about how much we missed Ryan Suter. This is a bottom pair. You look at the bottom pair with Tucker, Matthew Kessel, and now Hunter Skinner. Those three guys are pretty much interchangeable at this point. They're all very young, and they're very green and very raw. Now, when you have four top defensemen with a bottom pair looking like that, you're going to be counted on a lot more, and there's going to be a lot more pressure. It's like a quarterback in football. If you've got a great run game, the quarterback's going to play freer, and he's going to be in the pocket. He's going to be poised, and he's going to be able to check down. Because why? Worst case scenario, the throw game isn't there. You just keep going back to the run game. And that's what it's like having a veteran defenseman back there. It's just there's this calmness about you. All of a sudden, if you're a quarterback, though, and all of a sudden the run game stops, then you start to feel the pressure. Like, well, our offense is going to come from me and me alone today, so I better bring it, right? And I think that for the top four on this team, it's almost like the Blues for a little stretch of the season didn't have a run game. So now they have to lean on the pass game, which is the top four playing massive minutes. So it can kind of wear you down a little bit. I think that all Falk, Fowler, Parayko, and, of course, Philip Broberg, I think they're feeling that a little bit. This isn't something they're used to. They've had the Ryan Suters, they've had the Nick Lettys, the Robert Bortuzos, the Carl Gunnarsons going way, way back. You've always had that kind of steady veteran guy back there where you just can play those good, solid minutes and give you a breather. And right now, I don't know if the Blues have really had that in big stretches, so I think it's put a lot of pressure on him. So I think once that bottom pair kind of gets sorted through and they start getting them more experience and more confidence, I think you're going to start to see the Cam Fowler numbers start to shift back in the offensive way that we're used to.
You'll hear Joey Vitale on the call tonight with Chris Kerber starting at 5 o'clock. That's when pregame begins. Alex Ferrario has that for you. Puck drop with Joey and Curbs tonight at 6 out in Philadelphia. Joe, appreciate the time as always, man. We'll talk with you again next week. We'll talk with you again in 2 weeks. Next week, Thanksgiving. So you and yours have a very happy Thanksgiving. We'll talk with you in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, you guys get some wheat shot grass for your Thanksgiving dinner next week, Alex.
I just puked in my mouth a little bit there, Joe.
You're all right.
Yeah. No, I'm going to stick with turkey and salami, Joe. Turkey and salami.
See ya.
See you, buddy.
Appreciate you. Joey Vitale joining us as he does each and every Thursday here on BK and Ferrario. Had a few people text in basically saying something to the effect of, BK, tell him how much you disagree with him on the Buchnevich thing. Listen, man, multiple people can have different perspectives on things. That's basically the premise of our show. Me and Alex look at things very differently on a lot of stuff, and that's okay. I do see it differently. Like, I don't think that Booch has played particularly well this year. I also respect the fact that Joe has a hell of a lot more expertise in that area when it comes to what he's doing in the defensive zone. So if that's something he's seeing, at least it helps to explain to me why he's still in the lineup. Now, whether or not I see that doesn't much matter. It explains what maybe the coaches are seeing as to why he's still in the lineup if they believe he's still one of the best defensive forwards that they have on the table. So if that's the case, sure. All of us ultimately just want this to get fixed. I don't care how it happens. I find the handling of Kyrou versus Booch to be frustrating, personally, because it does feel as though Kyrou continues to be singled out, and I don't get that. But ultimately, we all want the same thing. which is for Pavel Buchnevich to find his game, and whatever means that he's going to find his game, that's what I'm here for.
Yeah. The one thing that Joey did mention there, it sounds like
yoga.
The hot yoga, which I'm in for yoga, but not hot yoga. That's what do you say? 140 degrees? That's absurd. But he did mention Snuggerud and Neighbours on that top line versus the projected lines. That's kind of my thought. Is you're going to see Neighbours on the left with Snuggerud on the right, Holloway, Dvorsky, Kyrou, and then Buchnevich, Suter, Shen. That's my expectation for those line combos.
I think that's your best combinations right now.
I do too. I think that's the way you need to do it. I think Dvorsky has worked really well with Kyrou and Holloway, and frankly, Holloway's at his best when he's playing with Kyrou. As much as I've tried to make Holloway with Thomas work, it just isn't happening. But I love the fact that they're going to put Neighbours up there with Thomas and Snuggerud, and you hope that that line can become that top line that can go out there and perform the way they need to. And frankly, as much as we want Buchnevich scratched, this is still a demotion, and you hope that this is the answer for him to kind of get going with this.
Should also be like somewhat of an identity line. Now, I don't know if it actually will be, but Suter, Shen, and Buch.
It's a defensive line for you.
It should be pretty physical. It should be a line that wins at the front of the net. It should be a line that wins with offensive zone possession. Like all of these things should be true for that line. We'll see if that ultimately comes true in reality, because so far this season, Buch and Shin, their numbers have not been what you would typically expect for those two. Blues back in action this evening at the Flyers. Alex's pregame starting at 5 o'clock right here on 101 ESPN. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll get into questions and answers. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show. Did see this, wanted to pass it along. Lane Kiffin's future could affect Ole Miss's playoff seeding, according to Chris Lowe, who writes for On3 Sports. Quote, if you're suddenly without your head coach when they do the final seeding, the coach who's gotten you to this point then could definitely drop you in the seeding order and put you on the road. So even if it doesn't drop them all the way out of the playoff, according to Chris Lowe's reporting, it could be something that drops them in the seeding, which goes from a home game to a road game. Remember earlier this week when we talked to Tom Hart and he said it's like $60 million as the economic benefit for having a home game in the playoff? Can you imagine?
I'm Ole Miss. I'm
Oxford
furious.
would be furious. At that point, do you just say, hey, please stay? I know you're going to be the next coach at LSU. You can announce that you're going to go there.
Hey, we're sorry we gave the ultimatum. I'm sorry.
You're going to be here, though, for that first playoff game. You can leave after that. Going into round 2, go be the coach of LSU. Be there for the portal. But round 1, we are getting this money in our community.
I just feel like that's so unfair. I mean, I guess I understand it, but I feel like it's unfair. The coach versus a quarterback are two different conversations.
Is it though? In college football, dude, the coach has, I mean, it's why these teams spend so much money on the coaches. The coaches in college football make more than the quarterbacks, unlike in the NFL.
The players are the ones making the adjustments. The players are the one that are pulling off the plays.
Yeah, I think football is the only sport in America still where the head coach can really play. I think NFL, like, coordinators can deal stuff, sitting with head coaches. Like, it is the only sport in America still where the coach really matters, because you can scheme up all different kinds of things. And that's not to say that the players don't, but in baseball, how much does a manager really affect a game, right? We've had the conversation.
Sure.
How much does a head coach in the NHL really matter? I don't know. They churn through them all the time, so apparently not that much. Same with basketball. Football is the only one that it really matters. So to me, if your quarterback went down to injury or your head coach left, those do potentially significantly affect your seeding. Your running back leaves in the portal. You know what? You can make up for that loss. Quarterback, head coach, no sir.
He's T-Bone, that's Alex on BK. Coming up next, last night gave you a glimpse into both the good and the bad of this Illinois basketball team. T-Bone will give us his perspective on it next year on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here with the Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Blues back in action tonight as they visit the Philadelphia Flyers. We'll have pregame coverage at 5 o'clock with Alex Ferrario and puck drop at 6 o'clock with Chris Garber and Joey Vitale. As the Blues activated Jake Neighbours from IR, he's expected to make his return to the lineup tonight. The Sports Center update was driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. CMLondoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Big game last night for the Illini. T-Bone, how'd you feel about it? The Illini ultimately lose. It was a close game. It was a really good game, honestly. A lot of fun to watch if you like points in college basketball, which isn't always something you can anticipate. Illinois versus Alabama in Chicago. The Crimson Tide ultimately win 90-86. What was your biggest takeaway? T-Bone's the Illini fan here on the show, so I want to get your thoughts first. What was your biggest takeaway from the Illini loss last night?
Yeah, overall, I was kind of happy with the performance. And honestly, I didn't even think they played that bad defensively, which I know sounds weird to say given that they gave up 90 points. But they held Alabama to 42% shooting from the field, and they shot below 35% from three-point range. My biggest takeaway, though, is if they don't hit their three-point shots, I don't know if they have a guy that they can go to get to the basket and get the offense back on track. Like, you look at that first half from the Illini last night. They went into the halftime break. They were leading by 42-41. They needed a cigarette and a sandwich after the final 3 minutes of that first half because it was a three-point barrage. And then what happens is they come out of the halftime break, and I think they missed their first 7 three-pointers of the second half, something like that. And nobody really has a rhythm offensively, right? They can't get Markovic going. They couldn't get Stojakovic going. I believe Avicic, the brother, not Tomislav, took a three-point shot, didn't get it to go. And then everybody's kind of like looking around like, going, okay, like who are we going to go to score here? And they didn't really have an answer on it for about 10 minutes. And that's what really allowed Alabama to kind of open the game up, get up to, I think the best lead they had was 10. And then Illinois just couldn't catch up after that. But they don't have a guy that they can say, okay, the three-point shot's not going. We've tried backing down a little bit, like with Markovic. He's not getting anything going. Felt like he didn't have his legs in the second half. Okay, who can we give the ball to and say, go off the dribble and beat them and get into the paint and make something happen? And Stojakovic is fine at it. He ended up becoming that guy.
He's your best guy at it.
Boswell ended up becoming that guy towards the end of that second half. But not one of them is elite at it. They can go to it, but they're not elite at it like Terrence Shannon was when he was off the dribble, slashing and getting to the rim. And my fear with them is if they're not hitting their three-point shots, they don't have something else that they can rely on.
I had a bigger fear on the defensive side of the ball than on what they were doing offensively. Like, I think this offense is going to be elite. I think it's really, really good.
The broadcaster last night said it's the deepest offensive team in the country.
I think they're awesome. And I agree with you, T-Bone. They don't necessarily have an elite slasher the way they have it in the past, but a lot of teams don't. I think that's been a unique part of what Illinois has been able to build. They've always had that go-to guard that's just dominant. And Boswell, I think, is good. He's not at the same level as Shannon or Ayo, some of those guys that they've had in the past, but he's good. And Stojakovic is good. So you have some guards. They're also adding some more that are coming back from injury. I think maybe by the end of the season, Wagler could be a guy that you trust a little bit more in those situations. So they have players that can help you there. They also they're so deep when it comes to their shooting. I would like to see Markovic maybe a little less, like settle for less of those jump shots, get a little bit more on the interior. I think he can be better as an interior player than what they've gotten out of him so far this year. His efficiency numbers are not as good as I would expect. For as much length as they have, though, they don't seem to put any fear into the opposition of attacking the rim. That's the thing that I'm curious about long term. As we get into Big Ten play, as you go up against some of these more physical teams, what does it look like on the interior for the Illini? Because they've got, I'll go down their list of heights real quick. 6'9", 6'7", 7'1", 6'6", 6'9", 7'2", 6'6", 6'10". As I just list off those players, you think to yourself, holy bleep, they are incredibly tall. And that's correct. By average height, they're the second biggest team in the country this season, according to KenPom. But as you watch it and how it affects opposing teams, they're not big, they're just long. Mm-hmm. And so I will be curious to see how that plays out. That is a bigger deal against a team like Alabama than it will be against most teams because Bama, their point guard last night, Philon was unbelievable. That guy was amazing, and he had one of the best nights that he has had in his collegiate career. So maybe that's not a repeatable skill, but as they go up against some of these teams in the Big Ten, it is something that I'll be monitoring against a team like Purdue, for example.
Yeah, and I think ultimately they will be fine. No, Thomas Ivisic is not a guy that protected the rim well last year, but I think his brother can, and that's where I think it's going to be interesting to see how they go about this. Like last night, his brother, I believe it's pronounced Zvonimir, if I'm not mistaken.
Just say the Ivisic brother.
The other one.
Big Z.
The one that wasn't there last year that was at Arkansas.
The transfer Ivisic.
Z and T.
I like that.
I think he can protect the rim better. Like, he had a really good game against, I'm trying to remember who their biggest non-con game was, Texas Tech. He played really well in that game. He had 7 blocks against Florida Gulf Coast, 3 blocks against Texas Tech. I think he can protect the rim for them. But what was so weird about that game last night, he played, I think it was 16 minutes last night. And I think it was because they got away.
Last year. That's what I'm curious about is, can he play more, or does he wear down quickly? Because at Arkansas, he was also a guy that played less than 50% of their minutes. In conference play, he was playing about 55% of the minutes. And it wasn't like a foul trouble issue. He's not a guy that commits a ton of fouls. He just doesn't play much. So is this something that is going to get better, or is he just a 15 to 20-minute producer for them?
And this is where I find it interesting, because like when I think of the SEC last year, I think of a lot of run and gun. And that could be, yes, you are wearing down.
That's fair.
The other part could be, man, they're going like 5 out essentially. Do we really want him on the floor? And I think that's what happened last night. Was Brad Underwood was trying to dictate the tempo a little bit, because I think they can play fast, but they don't want to play as fast as Alabama. Which,
I love the way that Nate Oates plays.
Man,
I love it. It's so much fun to watch.
It's incredibly fast. And Illinois tried to dictate the tempo, and at times they were able to control it down a little bit. But you can't contain that horse. And I think that was part of the issue that he was having was, okay, do I go to the Ivisic brothers now, where they're going to be exposed and they don't get up and down the floor at a great pace? And if they have to go out and guard the perimeter, now we do pull them away. You're going to beat them off the dribble. I think that was part of the equation for Underwood, and I think that's why he didn't play as much. Now, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe when they do go up into Big Ten play, even when they go up against a team like Purdue, they still don't play that amount of minutes. But that's what I am kind of thinking was the thought process there, because I think he can protect the rim and can play more minutes than he did.
And it's worth noting, because Alabama is an outlier here. You're not going to see many teams like that over the course of the season. Bama, for those curious, they're 5th in the country in tempo this season, and they're always top 5. So this is not an outlier season for them, outlier performance or anything. That's what you'd expect from a Nate Oates coach team. The only teams in the Big Ten that are currently in the top 125 in tempo, so the pace that they play with. Number 1, USC, they're at 32. Number 2, Michigan, they're at 53. Number 3, Illinois, they're at 65. So Illinois is actually one of the fastest teams in the Big Ten. That's it. There's the only 3 teams. So there's only 2 Big Ten opponents that they'll go up against that have anywhere close, and they're really not all that close, to the tempo that Bama just played with. So this is an outlier team on your schedule. I really like this Illinois team. After the game, Nate Oates said, hey, that's a team that can win the national championship. I don't know about that, but they're really good.
Fun.
They're really good. They're really deep. They're really fun to watch. They shoot the crap out of the basketball. They don't play a ton of defense. I think it's going to be a highly entertaining team to watch. There might be 200 points scored when Mizzou versus Illinois is played for bragging rights here in St. Louis in a few weeks.
At what point
That's going to be amazing.
At what point does T-Bone get frustrated with this team?
Oh, soon. That's coming. Yeah. UConn's probably the game.
Oh,
UConn's good, man. Did you watch them last night?
I didn't see any of their game last night.
UConn Arizona was also a really fun game. What's going to really frustrate you about that is it's the opposite of the game that we just watched. UConn slows the game down. They're very deliberate. And so if Illinois is missing their three-point shots, they're going to get very few possessions in that game. So they all become that much more valuable, and every 3 that you miss is going to piss you off that much more than the last one.
T-Bone will be broken after that game.
We'll see how long it takes, because at one point in that first half, when Illinois was kind of dictating that game, I was thinking in my head, we're going undefeated this year. Like, I don't know that we're going to lose. And then I saw the second half begin. I go, oh, no. Oh, because it reminds me a little bit, last night, that second half reminded me a little bit of last year. Because this is the same offense they ran last year. They've got better talent now, but
they're deeper for sure.
Yeah. Last year they ran the same offense, and it was, okay, we're going to chuck up a bunch of threes. And remember last year we would talk about it. They weren't weren't good at shooting the three-point ball, and they would keep chucking them up, and I'd be there pulling at my hair, going, "Oh my God, would we please quit shooting the three?" That's how I felt in the first 10 minutes of that second half against Alabama.
They do have shooters this year, so that's a lot different. Like, they've got guys that can actually make them, and they're much deeper with their rotation of guys that you trust. So Illinois, Alex, I love the way that they schedule. They had Texas Tech last week, Bama this week, and then they've got a couple of gimmies, LIU and then UT Rio Grande Valley. Those are the next two games on their schedule.
Time.
Oh, yeah. Look at Mizzou.
But, for sure.
I'm saying those are a waste of time,
100
too.
times worse. Next Friday, Black Friday, they play UConn in a tournament. A week later, they play Tennessee, and then they begin conference play against Ohio State.
And then they have Mizzou right after.
Yeah, Nebraska and Mizzou. That UConn-Tennessee stretch, Alex?
Oh, yeah. T-Bone's going to be done.
If they lose to UConn, the Tennessee game is when T-Bone loses.
He breaks.
Because Tennessee also plays with that really slow tempo. They grind it out, and they make things incredibly difficult on the opposition to score. That's when T-Bone will lose.
In fairness to T-Bone, that might be when Underwood loses it, too, with his team.
Oh, he was losing it last night.
He says there's leadership.
That dude gets very angry on the sidelines, and it's entertaining to watch.
Coming up in about 15 minutes, are we going to see an NL Central team actually make a splash that is, adding talent this offseason? We'll get into that coming up here in just a little bit. We'll get to questions and answers coming up next, including the latest on Eli Drinkwitz. There's an update from an LSU insider. I'll tell you what he had to say next here on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. It's BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. I do have a quick update on Eli Drinkwitz. It's not a whole lot, but it's coming from who I believe to be the number one insider when it comes to this LSU coaching search, Alex. Matt Moscana, who does radio down in Baton Rouge. He listed the betting odds and how they've shifted over the last few weeks on who's going to become the next head coach for LSU. Lane Kiffin is currently the favorite. No surprise there. He added, not having Eli Drinkwitz on the list is more surprising than Lane being at the top. Quote, Eli Drinkwitz is very much in play if LSU misses out on Lane Kiffin, end quote. That jives with what we've been saying all along. Kiffin is really the number one. Like, that is the first domino that has to fall for Penn State, LSU, Florida, and Auburn. Kiffin is the one that has to make a decision before anything else can happen. He is gumming up everything else that's taking place there. So wanted to pass that along. That comes from one of the top insiders on the LSU coaching search. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line for questions and answers. From the 618, guys, how bad do you think Illinois will beat Mizzou in the bragging rights game next
30
month?
30+.
Joke's on them. They're going to lose.
I think it'll be a relatively close game.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, like you said.
I think it'll be in single digits. The final margin.
I think Illinois will win like 90-75, something like that. I think they will win by more than 10.
Okay.
I just don't know that Missouri's going to stop them. And I think as much as we've talked about Illinois' struggles in the interior defensively, they can guard you up top. I mean, they showed that a little bit last night. I know that they gave up 90. I thought defensively they were fine outside getting beat a couple times late in the paint.
I would like to see Mizzou get healthy. If Mizzou's not healthy by the time they play that game, I might have a different proposition for it. But if Trent Pierce is playing, I think that changes things a lot for them. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line from the 314. Guys, if any of you gents had the opportunity to leave St. Louis, what's the smallest type of market you'd be willing to take a job in? So I'm not leaving. And Alex, I think the same thing is true for you. If I am not in radio in St. Louis, I'm just not in radio. I'll be in St. Louis. I just won't be in this specific industry. My wife's family is all from here. We made the choice to make this our home, not just for the here and now, but for the long term. If it was just me in a different life, I'd be willing to take a job in Denver. I'd be willing to take a job in Kansas City, Chicago. I would want to go to a sports market where they really care about their sports. I think
Not
Memphis
Miami.
even. I wouldn't fit in Miami.
For the longest time, I wanted to go to Florida. Like when I was in college, Florida was the spot that I wanted to go. And now it's like I wouldn't dare try to go to Florida to do sports talk radio.
No. I could live in Atlanta, I think.
Atlanta would be good.
Dallas, Houston. I could do sports radio there.
I think Pittsburgh would be solid.
Pittsburgh, awesome.
I love
awesome
that
place
city.
to do radio. Yeah.
I'm kind of the weird one. I don't know, like, even if I was, like, now there's no chance. If I'm out of radio, I'm out of radio. Like, I don't have the ability
Don't
to
sell
go
yourself
search
short.
for another.
I think you could do a podcast in St.
I don't
Louis.
have the ability to do that. I've got 3 kids at home, all toddlers. Like, I've got to make money. So, like, regardless, I also think, like, if I was by myself and it didn't work out here, I mean, I've been lucky enough to be in the city that I was born and raised in to cover the teams that I love. I don't know if the passion is there as much as it is in St. Louis to go to another market and, like, try and fall in love with more teams and talk about them with the same passion that I have here.
Yeah,
It's not that hard.
Yeah, I could. My paycheck would make me love it.
It's hard. Well, I guess
I
when I'm
love
single.
sports. And so, like, when I'm covering the teams day to day,
I think I'd want to be a fan at that point. Like, if I fell out of it, I think I'd want to just be a fan again.
But you can be a fan of the. Sorry, T-Bone. You could be a fan of the Blues and the Cardinals still,
That's what I
and
was gonna
then
bring up.
like that's what I am, right?
I
I'm a
guess that's
fan
true.
of the Chiefs and I'm a fan of Mizzou, but I get to cover the Cardinals, and I've honestly become a fan of the Blues. Like that's my hockey team because I didn't grow up with one. I never had an allegiance to a team. So this
You always
is
trade everybody.
this has now become my adopted team. I do apologize for
I
that.
was gonna say, like the Royals though. Like, do you still follow the Royals with like a fandom? Like, I would almost wonder like,
It's more
would you
of
almost
a-
get more of your fandom back? Because like right now, I'm kind
Yeah,
of like
a little bit.
I mean,
the Cardinals win or lose. Like, don't get me wrong, I do care a little bit because it does impact like what we're covering in the summer. But it doesn't like hurt me as it used to when I was growing up, right?
You got to cover it.
I used to text
That's
you.
the
I
thing
would be
with
the
the
guy that would
Blues.
text in and say, they got to fire Ollie Marmol.
That's
No, it
the
doesn't
Blues
bother
for me. Like, I've been to a couple of games since I've been doing this for now, like, I think it's 12, 13 years. the game. Like, I used to be on my feet when a goal went in. Now, like, when I've gone as a fan, I don't even stand up. My wife has had to remind me, is like, hey, everyone's standing. Like, oh, yeah, sorry.
You also cover the team in attendance 40 times a year.
Yeah, that's how the Cardinals were. I think that's why people say I'm so, like, negative on the Cardinals. Man, I did it for 6 years where I was there every single game. And, like, once you're behind the scenes a little bit, I don't know, it's weird how it works to where the fan side of it, it's still there, but it's a different type of passion when you're covering it versus when you're just watching it at home.
Changes things completely. All right, he's Alex, that's T-Bone, I'm BK. 314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line to get involved in the show. We'll get to our football pick'em coming up here in about 15 minutes. This is our last week for this month, is that right?
Bum, bum, bum. Yeah.
Pretty important picks coming up here in about 15 minutes to determine who gets punished in the month of November.
Look at T-Bone's face.
He's nervous. Look at He's nervous.
Do I look nervous? That's the answer you're supposed to have.
Yes.
Coming up next, are we going to see an NL Central team make a splash that's bringing talent into the division this offseason, or is it all going to be moving out? We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. You've got BK and Ferrario here on 101 ESPN. You good?
Did that go over the air?
I think so.
Yeah.
Good timing.
Turn on his mic.
There's one thing I could follow through on, and it's sneezing, unlike BK over here. I perform under pressure.
So, just going to let that one fly.
What, man? I feel like I got another one. I got this damn nose hair. This is what happens when you're Italian, ladies and gentlemen.
You're
you got
old.
so much hair. It's just up there. Every time I talk, it just wiggles around.
So there was a report, not even a report, there was speculation that Kyle Schwarber could be interested in going back home.
Wasn't it him that said, like, oh, yeah, I'd like to go back to the Reds?
What's he supposed to say in that spot? Like, is he going to eliminate them from contention?
Where was he? It's not like he was in Ohio.
He literally was.
Oh.
He was asked by Ohio media, would you be interested in coming home to play for the Reds? And he said, yeah, of course. I think that'd be really special.
Yeah, cool. Just, pay me.
So Schwarber was doing some kind of an event, and he was asked, hey, would you be interested in playing for the Reds? And he said, yes. He's from Ohio originally, went to school at Indiana, said it would be really special to play, in my home state, to play for a team like the Reds. Alex, this got us to thinking. As you look at the NL Central this offseason, it seems like most of the speculation is on teams losing talent, not adding it. The Brewers, all the speculation is, hey, are they going to trade Freddie Peralta? What happens now the Woodruff's coming back on the qualifying offer? Does that mean it's more likely that Peralta is traded? The Cubs, are they going to be able to bring back Kyle Tucker? They maybe didn't even want Shota Imanaga back. Are they going to be able to now add some kind of other starting pitcher? What's their plan? The Reds, there's speculation on, do they trade Hunter Green this offseason? The Cardinals, we know what they're expected to do. The Pirates say they're going to spend like $30 million this offseason. Cool, congratulations. You get 2 utility infielders. Like, that's great. Way to spend, Pirates. Congratulations. Is there going to be a splash in this division, Alex? Or do you think the biggest splash once again will be players leaving the NL Central to go elsewhere?
I don't see anybody making a splash. Like, I know the Reds rumor is there of, could Schwarber go? They're not going to spend the money to get Kyle Schwarber, or the years probably to get Kyle Schwarber, because you're talking about a guy who's going to probably be late or his early 40s by the time this contract is done. So I rule out the Pirates, even though they act as if they're going to be big spenders. I don't know what big spending they're doing. I rule out the Reds. The Cubs are literally walking away from the guy that they should be throwing all the money at. The Brewers would probably be, it's the Brewers or the Cardinals would be my best guess. And I think the Cardinals one is going to be via trade if they make a splash. I don't think it's going to be in free agency. And then the Brewers, when have they ever made big splashes in free agency? So no, I don't think this is the season that a big splash. If you were to say who's the most likely one to make a splash in the coming years, Cubs, I guess.
I think the Cubs are your best chance this offseason as well, and it's to add either Framber Valdez or Dylan Cease.
What about 3 years from now? Would it be the Cubs or the Cardinals? Or 4 years from now?
Like within the next few years, who's most likely to make it?
In 10 years
from now. All right, fine. 2076. Which NL Central team who's in the NL Central is
I'm
it?
going to be 86 at that time. I'm probably done at that point with the Cardinals.
I think the Cubs are your best chance to add anybody of real significance over the next few off seasons. Can the Cardinals do it? Of course, they can. Will they do it? I don't know. I'd be as skeptical as all the Cardinals fans are out there. We've talked about it a million different times. They've added some pretty big names. Like they went out and they added Sonny Gray. That was a big addition. It wasn't a long-term deal, but it was a big addition. Wilson Contreras, a big addition. Despite how it ultimately went, Dexter Fowler, I mean, he got $80 million from the Cardinals. That's not chump change. It's a pretty significant addition. They're typically in that like 5 to 10 range of the when you look at the top 25 free agents in the offseason, you skip the top 4. Then you get to that second tier, and that's where the Cardinals shop. Can they get up into that top tier? Yeah. Will they? I would be skeptical of it. And I think the Cubs this offseason are your one real chance in the Central to do so, and it would be for one of those pitchers.
Yeah, and I
don't think they will, though. I think those guys are going to go elsewhere.
Yeah, and I don't think they will either because they just had Shota Imanaga accept the $22 million qualifying offer. Mm-hmm. I mean, they were desperately trying to get out of that. They declined the club option. I think they were hoping he wouldn't take it and go for a multi-year deal, and they would get a draft pick, and then they could use that money and use it to throw out a Cease. And they would lose a draft pick, but they'd gain a draft pick right back when Imanaga signed. Well, then he accepted the QO on them. So I don't think they're spending big money. I don't think they're making a splash. I really don't buy what the Pirates are selling because BK's right. It's probably utility infielders.
You can't get much for $30 million. You have to get multiple players just to add to your roster.
I mean, think of this. Rafael Iglesias, one of the top closers on the market, just signed for $16 million.
For 1 year.
For 1 year. That's half your money, Pittsburgh, if you were to do that. So, yeah, I'm not buying what they're selling. I'd be shocked if the Reds end up making a big splash in free agency. And the other thing, too, is the two teams that we're hearing that are willing to spend outside of, the Cubs, but we haven't heard anything since Imanaga accepted the QO, so I don't know where they stand. We're hearing the Pirates and the Reds wanting to spend. You know what those two teams have to do? They have to spend stupidly. And the reason I say that is the Reds, for example, will go into this Schwarber conversation and be willing to match whatever the market is. 3 years, and we'll say $20 million just to keep it nice and round, right? We're willing to give you 3 years, $60 million. And he goes, yeah, okay, but you guys haven't been that good lately, so do I really want to go there? And you're kind of selling me on this idea that you're a contender. Or I can go to Philly, return back where my stuff is, and I know we're already contenders. So if you're the Reds, you almost have to be paying for being bad over the last couple of years. Same for the Pirates. You have to pay a premium for sucking for the last decade. And these teams don't want to do that because they want to win on the margins, right? So that's where I think these teams are saying all the nice things of we're willing to spend, we want to spend some money. And then when these players go, well, you got to pay for being bad over the last couple of years, they go, well, never mind, we're good then. We don't want to spend. So talent's going to be leaving the NL Central than it is going to be coming in this offseason.
From the 636, according to WGN up in Chicago, the Cubs are expected to make a heavy plate to bring play, I'm guessing is what they meant to say. Heavy play to bring Schwarber back to the team. That would make sense.
That would totally make sense.
I think that'd be a good move by them.
Still think I would rather go Kyle Tucker over Kyle Schwarber, but cool.
They do have outfielders, so I guess that's where you get yourself to that. Like it's a better fit.
But even if you have outfielders, you still want the bat.
Suzuki need to be your DH? Isn't he still there?
I think they're
wrong?
trying to trade Suzuki.
Oh,
I don't know that they're going to be able to. But I think they're trying. It seems as though they would like to trade Suzuki, and maybe they view this as a pretty sizable upgrade from him.
I mean, Kyle Schwarber brings the hype too. I mean, you bring back the guy that was a part of your World Series. Like, it makes sense if you do Schwarber. I think I was the one that said, like, I could see Schwarber going back to the Cubs at some point. I still don't. I think it's a dumb lateral move when you should go get the guy who's younger and the one that like changed the outlook of your lineup this past year.
I think they're pulling a Cardinals here, where they say, hey, we have internal options that we think can be 80% of what Kyle Tucker was for us production-wise for 5% of the cost.
How'd that work out for the Cardinals?
I'm not telling you it's going to work.
So I would love when they make that argument to point out the team where that worked.
I'd still like Bryce Harper.
That it did, I would say that the Astros were proven correct in their handling of the Carlos Correa deal. Now, they ultimately
got him back.
I know, but they ultimately brought him back. They got Jeremy Pena, who's a really good player. He's not Carlos Correa in his prime, but they also didn't have to pay the full freight of Carlos Correa, and they were able to go make other moves externally to continue to fortify their roster. So
they also had two other superstars, though, on their roster that you could make that difference, whereas the Cubs, I think everybody that looked incredible last year takes a massive step back when you don't have Kyle Tucker in the middle of your lineup.
I agree. It's a weird division.
So, like 15 years from now, we think the Cardinals would make the biggest splash in free agency.
Football pick'em coming up next here on 101 ESPN. have 9 games on my list this week.
Oh, that's not a good recipe for success.
So
got to narrow it down, man.
Last week, I felt really good about every single pick that I was potentially going to make. Every single one of them. This week, I don't feel great about anything. I feel pretty good about a bunch of games, but I don't feel great about any of my picks. So welcome to an 0-3 week for your guy, BK. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm up by 3 going into the final week of the month, and I'll still find a way to be punished. It's going to be amazing.
That'd be awesome.
So as I mentioned, I'm currently in the lead. It's a foreign feeling for me. I don't feel comfortable with it. For the month of November, I have 12 points. I also have 2 of my tiebreakers correct. Alex is at 9 points with 2 of his tiebreakers correct. T-Bone is also at 9, but only 1 tiebreaker. So as of today, T-Bone is in last place. So our pick'em for this week, we're doing it on a Thursday because T-Bone's out tomorrow. So we want to make sure that we get these in, even if it is a day early. I will go first. Alex will go second. T-Bone, to avoid him being blocked, will go third to give himself the opportunity to switch things up if need be. T-Bone, I'm also going to give you another opportunity. Would you like us to start with a 3-point play and work our way down, or start with a 1-point play and work our way up?
I like
because that's the rules that we've ever done before.
Let's start with the 3-point play.
This is stupid.
I think it's fair.
No, we've never done this before.
Who cares?
I won every week, and we're going to just offer this up when T-Bone's last?
Yeah, I don't know why this would affect you.
I don't know why either. I just wanted to yell.
And I can't believe he didn't come up with this since he's always in last place.
Yeah,
You'd think he would have came up with this idea.
Because I don't think it's unfair for me to do that when I'm the one that benefits, but for you to benefit from it, I think it's fair.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to argue on my own behalf, but I'll argue on yours.
All right.
I'm a good teammate sometimes,
I'd argue on my own behalf.
My 3-point play going into this week. Once again, going with my head, not my heart. Oklahoma's a better football team. Sounds like Matt Zollers is probably going to start against Oklahoma on Saturday. OU is only a 7.5-point favorite against Mizzou. If Zollers is indeed the starter, Alex, I don't know how Mizzou moves the ball against Oklahoma. They have one of the best defenses in the country. They have more tackles for loss than any team this year. They have averaged 10 tackles for loss per game. Does Oklahoma's defense. They have some weaknesses in their outside corners, including a couple of injuries going into this week. I don't know how much that matters against Mizzou right now. So I'm going to take OU minus the 7.5 points to cover that spread at home against Mizzou this weekend. I don't love it, but I think it's going to happen.
I considered that game, but the reason I backed away is I think Drink's playing games with his starting quarterback. Now, some might say, I don't know if that matters if Purvila starts or not. I've seen how teams really struggle when you got a game plan for two different styles of quarterbacks, and that's what Zollers and Purvila are. Like looking at Mizzou, and they got killed by A&M, and I think they prepared for the wrong quarterback. That's the whole reason I stayed away from that game. Otherwise, Zollers starts, I'm 100% with BK that should be your 3-point play.
All right, my 3-point play, I am going with the Bears minus 2.5. They're on the road. What? Oh, no, they're not on the road. They're at home. What were you going to say?
It was one of the games I had.
Was it? Yeah,
Sorry.
No, you're fine. What worried me about this one was if Rodgers plays, we all know he has his success against the Bears. Here's the problem, though. This isn't the Rodgers of years past. It's the Rodgers of this Pittsburgh Steelers team, which has been bad. I just don't think the Steelers defense is going to be able to keep this thing close. And I don't know. I think their cornerback is eligible to play. I know they reinstated him, but I don't know if he's playing in this game or not. Regardless, Bears at home against the Steelers. They're playing as the better team, minus 2.5. I like that as my 3-point play.
Jalen Warren hurt right now for the Steelers. Alex Highsmith hurt right now for them. They've got some injury stuff that they're dealing with. The Bears injury report is loaded. That is one of the reasons why I avoided this game. Almost their entire defense didn't practice yesterday.
Oh, it'll be fine.
Quan Brisker, Kevin Byard. Now, that was rest-related, but Tremaine Edmonds is also hurt right now. TJ Edwards is hurt right now. It's just a really long injury report, and it spooked me off of it. But it was one of the games that I looked at as well. T-Bone, your 3-point play.
My 3-point play, surprisingly, none of those were on my list of 9 that I have here in case I had to really pivot. My 3-point play, guys, Cam Ward is really going through it. And that Seahawks defense is really good. I'm not sure the Titans score a point this week, I should say, let alone cover 13.5-point spread. So give me the Seahawks minus 13.5 at the Titans.
Do you want to change it? Because that's my 2-point play.
No, because it'll give me a tiebreaker, and it's +1 if I win.
That's my 2-point play. I everything T-Bone said, The spread is what worried me, but I don't know how the Titans can do anything against that defense. And Seattle's going to be a little pissed off after their loss. So I think this one was pretty easy for me.
Titans have been playing closer games lately. It's against bad opponents, though.
They haven't seen the Seahawks.
I mean, they saw the Texans' defense last week. Texans' defense is very good. Put up 13 points against it. The Texans' offense isn't exactly the Seahawks' offense, though.
Who was their quarterback?
Yeah, that's a big part of this. All right, I like the pick. Didn't have it on my list, but I do like it nonetheless. I'll go ahead and get my 2-point play in here. I like the Eagles. Minus the 3 points against the Dallas Cowboys. I just think the Eagles are a significantly better team than Dallas. They're on the road. That's not ideal, but I think their defense has figured things out. They're playing their best football that they have since the Super Bowl of last season. Jalen Phillips completely changes the look of that pass rush. And I know the offense can be frustrating as you're watching them, but more often than not, they win by 7 to 10 points. They're, in my opinion, right now, the second best team in the NFC behind only the LA Rams. So I'm going to take the Eagles. I know the offense has been scuffling. I think that's going to change this weekend. I think they beat Dallas by 10 to 13 points.
I just never know what to do with the Eagles, so I've just decided I'm never picking their game.
They've burned me already twice this season, so I just stay away from those. Is this to me now, or?
Oh, you just did.
I did my 2-point play. Yeah,
my 2-point play. I know for a fact it won't be on either of your guys' list. I don't think it won't be on yours. I really doubt it's on BK's. I'm going to the Great American Conference, where it's probably like the 5th best conference in college football. I'm cherry picking a bit of a stat here that BK will hate, but North Texas feel like they always beat the teams that are bad in the American Conference. So I looked this up today. In conference play, when they are favored by 10 or more points, they have covered the spread all 3 times. They're 3-0. This week, they go to Rice. No idea where that campus is at.
Houston.
Thank you. I think North Texas will cover this 18.5-point spread on the road. They are still fighting for a chance to get into the American Conference Championship game. Still have an outside shot at the college football playoff. I think they go into Houston and take care of business at Rice minus 18.5 points.
I love that stat. I think that's a great stat, and it's a useful stat because it's this team that has done that against that quality of opponent. So I think that's an absolutely fantastic stat. Fun fact, I lived on Rice Village while I was interning down in Houston, so that's why I know that Rice is located in Houston. I lived 2 blocks from campus.
You could have said any town, and I would have said, yeah, okay.
Yeah, cool. Congrats.
My 1-point play for this week in the Pick'em Challenge is another NFL game. I'm going with 2 NFL games this week. I feel like a regular Alex Ferrario week. And I'm going with my guy, Shedeur Sanders. Oh. I'm backing him on the road at the Las Vegas Raiders. As a 4-point underdog, does anybody think the Raiders are scoring against that Browns defense?
That's why
I think the Browns defense might outscore the Raiders offense. Give me the Browns plus 4 points on the road. I think it's going to be incredibly low scoring. I think they could win this game 13-6 or something like that. So give me Cleveland plus the 4 points. I would have taken them as a favorite.
I really wanted to, but my gut was like, yeah, but watch the Raiders get like 2 pick sixes and win this game 14-0. So stay away from that one. My 1-point play, I'm taking the Jaguars minus 3 against the Cardinals. I almost did as my 3-point play last week. I backed away from it. This one I feel a little bit more confident in because Arizona just is not a good team anymore. Regardless if it's Brissett, Kyler Murray, team's broken in my opinion, and the Jaguars are playing some inspired hockey. I don't know if Brian Thomas Jr. is playing this week. He was limited yesterday, but I like this one. What is it? Plus or minus 3? So Jaguars minus 3.
My 1-point play, I'm sticking in college football, and maybe it's the basketball team that's got me on the hopium, but I am going back to the boys, the Fighting Illini. They take on Wisconsin on the road this week. I get it. Wisconsin has been playing better football. I don't think they can stop this Illinois passing attack. I think Illinois will do a good enough job stopping the run. I like Illinois minus 7.5 on the road against the Wisconsin Badgers.
That one makes me nervy.
Nervy?
Yeah,
but Shedeur makes you feel better.
I'm not betting on Shedeur. I'm betting on Myles Garrett.
It ain't about Shedeur. It's about the defense of that one.
I mean, they kept things close last week against the Ravens, and now I'm supposed to be worried about the Raiders?
The Raiders, I mean, regardless, Shedeur just hands it to Judkins the entire game. They'll probably be fine.
What makes me nervy is the way that Illinois has played on the road this year. They really struggled in that first half against Duke, and then got fortunate to have their defense play the way that it did in the second half. They really struggled on the road at Indiana.
I know.
They struggled in the first half against Purdue on the road, and then they got beat pretty bad against Washington. This is a team that has had significant struggles on the road. That's what makes me nervous about this game at Wisconsin. And Wisconsin's not an easy place to play, even though they've struggled there this year.
No one's going to be there. They're going to be chanting "Fire Luke Fickell" at halftime.
Last home game, they beat Washington and rushed the field
with like half their stadium full.
Beat Washington.
I think Illinois is going to take care of business this week, and I think they will cover the 7.5 point spread.
Those are our picks for this week. I've got the Browns, the Eagles, and OU. Alex has the Jags, the Seahawks, and the Bears. T-Bone has the Illini, North Texas, and Seattle. This thing could be over by Saturday night, Alex.
Yeah.
If T-Bone misses on Illinois and North Texas on Saturday, he will be eliminated.
Well, no, that's not true because he's got Seahawks.
It'll be over for me.
Yeah.
Which is ultimately what I care about. Because at that point, he will only have his 3-point play, and I'll already be up on him with tiebreaker and everything. So I'll be safe.
Yeah, well, it's not done for you.
About.
Mine won't be done until
Sunday at 3.
Yeah, Sunday at 3.
How you feeling, T-Bone? You a little worried at this point? Because you're not only last for this month, you're also last overall now.
Yeah.
And there is an end-of-year punishment as well as the monthly punishment.
I'm a little nervous that I decided to stick with staying with 3-point play. That is the same as Alex's 2-point. But I just trust that one so much that I don't think it goes wrong. So then I end up being up a point, and then it just comes down to who's better with their 1- and 2-point plays. And I feel confident in my pick. So I feel good. We can get this ready to clip on Monday. I will not be punished because I will avoid it this weekend.
What an idiot.
Alex, the Jaguars are playing some inspired hockey, huh?
Yeah, no, I realized I said that. By that point, I was already
calling me an idiot.
By that point, I was already done. I'm calling you an idiot on being so firm on your stance. We all know how that goes in this pick'em. The moment you're confident, the moment you go down.
We're going to dive into the junk drawer, but coming up next. So the Blues are the same team as they were at this point last year. Do you have the confidence?
They're playing some inspired hockey.
That this team will be able to turn it around the way that they did a year ago. We'll talk about that next year on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here in Missouri. Big news. It's almost your turn to get in the game because DraftKings Sportsbook is coming to the Show Me State on December 1st, which is less than 2 weeks away. Soon you'll get fast payouts when you win, a safe and secure app that's easy to use, and promos that keep the action going all season long. No wonder it's America's top-rated sportsbook app. The countdown is on. New customers can sign up right now and score $300 in bonus bets on launch day. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use my code Tanner. That's code Tanner. As new Missouri customers, sign up today and score $300 in bonus bets once we're live. That's code Tanner. The crown is yours. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply, subject to regulatory licensing requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Tanner Hendrickson here with a Sports Center update driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Blues back in action tonight as they visit the Philadelphia Flyers. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 5 o'clock with Alex Ferrario, then puck drop at 6 o'clock with Chris Garber and Joey Vitale. And the Blues activated Jake Neighbours from IR earlier today as he's expected to make his return to the lineup. The Sports Center update was driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Alex, I was looking back at the Blues through 20 games a year ago to compare it to where they're at today. They have the exact same number of points. The record is slightly different because they haven't gone to overtime or shootouts as often as they have this season. They seem to do that almost every night nowadays. But the Blues at this point in the season 1 year ago were 8-11-1, 17 points. Which is exactly where they are right now through the first 20 games of the regular season. Now, this time last year, we were about 5 days away from the Blues firing Drew Bannister and hiring Jim Montgomery.
Well, the only reason was because Montgomery became available. Maybe Bannister still would be here if Montgomery was never available.
And if you remember, that was part of the jump that allowed them to get things going a little bit. Then they traded for Cam Fowler, and that helps them as well. Then you get to the Four Nations face-off break, and that allowed them to regroup. They have that mini camp, and they go on that crazy run down the stretch, despite losing Colton Parayko and me saying, just sell everything. If you don't have Parayko, there's no reason to even try anymore. Just sell at the deadline. They ultimately did not. Listen to me. They made it to the playoffs. We all know how that went.
It was a great montage that T-Bone put together last year.
But there was a lot that went into that. They get a new coach. They get a big-time new top 4 defenseman, a top pair defenseman for them, who helped out both at 5-on-5 and on the power play, evened things out for them defensively, put Ryan Suter in a new role. There were real reasons as to why, tangible reasons, why the Blues got back on track last year. I don't know whether that stuff's coming this time around. The coach isn't changing.
Yeah, the coach isn't happening.
I don't think you can reasonably expect them to make a sizable shift to this roster. I think it's kind of set right now in terms of bringing somebody else in.
That's the one I just have a shoulder shrug, because Doug Armstrong makes aggressive moves when he feels like it's necessary, but I don't know what you're trading and what you're bringing in and where that player is playing. So
I feel like if that player exists, it was A, Dalibor Dvorsky coming up, and then B, I guess Jake Neighbours' return. It's more that than it is somebody from the outside coming in, maybe a defenseman.
Yeah, maybe you go get a guy that settles down. You just say, the hell with this Tucker Kessel-Mayu thing. Let's go get somebody to settle it down, and you go from there. But it's either that or you bring in another forward. But where's that other forward playing? Because we're having these conversations. Unless you're trading a roster player out to bring a roster player in, that has its own hiccups, though.
The reason that I bring this up, Alex, is while it felt hopeless at this point last year, once they started making the moves, you could see, all right, they're trending toward, they would really like to salvage this season. They would like to make it to the playoffs this year. They still feel like they're pushing toward that. I feel the opposite this year. I feel as though this season, it's more likely they break this thing apart than add to the core. For right now. I think in the offseason, maybe that's a different conversation. But right now, it feels more likely that they sell pieces off than add. Do you think that's a fair read?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, take all the rumors out there. Shen and Falk's names are floating around. So is Jordan Kyrou's apparently, but that's a lot more difficult to make. But I don't expect an outside trade to happen unless they're shifting somebody off of this roster and bringing somebody back in. Maybe that's salvaging this season and igniting a spark. Maybe that's just fixing your roster so that you have more flexibility in the offseason. But the only way this thing gets turned around is internally with your own players. If you're an optimist, you hope that all of these points that they have picked up going into overtime and a shootout, maybe that's a sign of things hopefully getting fixed. Me personally, I'm kind of past that now. Jake Neighbours is going to add energy, but for how long? If they win tonight, cool. You got the win. Jake Neighbours is back. What's it look like 5, 10, 15 games from now? Do I think they could turn this season around still and salvage it? Yeah, I do, because there's still a lot of time, and frankly, the West is kind of jam-packed. We just talked about how similar last year was to this year. But this isn't going to be some type of spark ignited by the president of hockey operations. This is going to be the players having to dig deep and find a way to do it. That's the part that I'm skeptical of, because they've had to fire a coach, make trades, make roster decisions to finally get the players to wake up. I don't think any of that's happening. I think if they're waking up, it's going to be the players figure something out. That's the part that I'm very skeptical of.
Yeah, I don't see those roster reinforcements coming, because I think now at this point, Doug Armstrong's too smart of a general manager to look at it and go, okay, really, it was a 26 kind of one-off, 26-game one-off. When we look back at us over the last couple of years, we've talked about it. This core doesn't play with enough consistent hockey. So I don't know how you can convince yourself of, yeah, we need to make an addition, because you ran through all of it. They made trades last year. They fired a head coach last year. They've gotten 2 coaches fired in their time here as the core, Berube and Bannister. Now you've brought in Montgomery. You would have thought that this was, okay, you finally had that moment. You got to the playoffs. Everything has finally clicked into place. And then you don't show up for the beginning of the season, right? You end up not having your top players be your top players. Why? Because they just can't do it on a consistent basis. So the bigger sample size is, this core does not work. So why would I continue to reinforce it? And instead, I think you have to look at it if you're Doug Armstrong and start to pick apart from it, right? You look to trade a Braden Shen, maybe a Justin Falk. Maybe in the offseason, you do explore one of Booch Thomas or Kyrou as a guy that ends up getting moved.
It feels very 2023 Cardinals-y, where the 2022 Cardinals came off of that really impressive season, especially the finish to the year. Albert came in, did his thing. Tyler O'Neill had a great season that year. Tyler O'Neill was 2021. 22 was Arenado and Goldie with the MVP caliber seasons. Like, your core really stepped up. And then 2023, they all kind of took a step back. Albert obviously gone. The pitching just completely evaporated, and it ultimately led to us saying, like, oh my God, how did they not see this coming? How did we all not see this coming? The signs were all there. It kind of feels that way with the Blues right now. And the reason that I bring this up, Alex, is I feel like 2023 is when the John Mozeliak criticism really came to a head, where people were like, this is all on Mo. He's the problem. You got to get rid of him. I don't sense that same angst, at least not yet, with Doug Armstrong. And maybe that's because they've already announced, hey, we're going in a new direction. We've got Alexander Steen that's coming in. He's going to be taking over. I don't know. But how do you think this season, if this is what it's going to be, if it just they end up picking in the top 7-ish in next year's draft, it doesn't get fixed, this is the team that we watch all season long. Do you think it changes at all the way that people feel about Doug Armstrong and how these last 7 years, I guess, post Stanley Cup final have gone?
Yeah, I do. I think it changed. I think people have already kind of been 50-50 on Doug, and a lot of the negativity was the Pietrangelo, Falk, Krug scenario, but he made that up with people by trading for Pavel Buchnevich, which I know doesn't look as good now, but at the time it was a hell of a trade. And then the offer sheets by Broberg and Holloway. But yeah, I think if this season goes haywire and they're talking about a top 3 pick and they can't move off of any of these contracts, I think the big blemish on Doug Armstrong's tenure towards the end is going to be you put the team in a stuck position because you've got big contracts on guys that aren't aging well in terms of Pavel Buchnevich. You've got no trade clauses on guys that don't look like they're core pieces of the team in terms of Kyrou and Robert Thomas.
Sound familiar?
And then you've got a lot of these older guys that you look at and you say, you're stuck.
And your young guys haven't lived up to expectations.
Yeah, I mean, that's the hard part because I think Stuggerud and Dvorsky get people excited right now. So that's going to be the part that at least people can look at and be like, yeah,
Mason
but look at what he
Lundy
did.
and Von Herrera get people excited.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. And then you've got the other ones that are
win, but
well, for some people, win.
Wynn's a good player.
No, superstar is what I was told.
Okay.
Jimmy Rollins. Brandon.
But then you got the guys in the minor leagues as well, or not in the minor leagues, but in juniors that you hope can become something. But regardless, if the team misses the playoffs and you're picking top 3, a lot of people are going to look at it as like you're stuck. And now Steen takes over, and I know Armstrong's still in the organization. Steen takes over, and can you get out of these contracts? So I don't know if it's going to be as negative as it is on John Mozeliak because a lot of people just disliked him, and it was a long span of struggles and be like, what are you doing? This is a 2 to 3 year window where you invested in the wrong core. But it's not going to look good because everybody goes back to the Alex Pietrangelo decision and then moving on from O'Reilly and Perron and being like, wait a minute, you're moving on from all of these guys. You're handing the keys over to these young players who might not be ready for it. And lo and behold, they're in their prime and your team is still struggling.
Petro is the Randy A decision. Like that's the original sin. You go back to that and that was the moment where it things turned with the Randy Arozarena decision. It wasn't all because of that. That was just one of many decisions that led to where they ultimately are today. But it was symbolic of where they are. They identified the wrong talent and they traded the wrong guy and then they traded for the wrong guy. Whereas with Alex Pietrangelo, I mean, they had him. And one of their seemingly beliefs internally is we don't give out no move clauses. And so them being stubborn to that degree, kind of like the Cardinals were stubborn in their own ways where we pitch to contact. I know what the rest of the league is doing. I don't care. We pitch to contact. That got in their way of taking that next step and following the path of the rest of the league's trends. The Blues tried to foresee where the league was going. They thought it was going to be the smaller, faster puck-moving defensemen, so they went in that direction. They got it wrong. I respect that they tried to follow the path. They just got it wrong. Now they're reversing course, kind of going back to what they more were with these bigger defensemen that can move, but bigger defensemen nonetheless. I think it should influence the way that he's remembered. I think Doug Armstrong is a really good general manager, a really good one of the best in the league. I think Mo, for most of his tenure here in St. Louis, he's not remembered this way, but I think he was also a very good general manager for the vast majority of his time here. He's not necessarily remembered that way because of the way that he left and because of where the franchise is today. And if we're being real about where the Blues find themselves, they have not been a legitimate contender since 2022? Mm-hmm. It's been 3 or 4 years now since we've really viewed them in that light. They've gone through multiple coaches in this time. They've tried to figure out this core. They've changed up who they've got on the roster. I think Army's very good. The results are what they are. That speaks for itself right now. And right now, the results are not good for this team. It can still change, and I hope that it does. I hope like hell it does. It'd be great for us here locally. But, yeah, I think that it should and ultimately will influence the way that he's remembered.
And that's the other thing, too. Armstrong still has a chance to salvage it, whether the team turns it around or if he makes a big move and it fixes it.
Absolutely.
And that's the one thing that Mo didn't do. Like, he didn't find a way to salvage it. He kept trying to reinforce it.
I think he did, but he did it at the deadline. Like, when he did it, it was in season. It was like the LeBlanc, Hap, and Lester. That's salvaged 2021. 2022, they don't get to the playoffs if they do not. Well, they probably get to, but they don't have a chance if they don't get Quintana and Montgomery. Like, he did try and salvage it, but it just never ended up leading to success in the playoffs. And though I agree there probably should be more criticism of Doug Armstrong, and it should be more of how he is remembered, especially because the original sin is way worse than the original one for the Cardinals. Because Randy A was still an unknown. So was Liberatore. Petra was like a superstar. As Cole Yakovo said on the show back then, you don't let that guy leave the building. And they did. But I don't think he's going to get as much criticism as Mo did. And the reason why, Blues hadn't won 10 World Series or 10 Stanley Cups. They've only won one.
And he's the guy.
And he's the guy who built that team.
That's fair.
And I don't think that's why he's going to get as much criticism.
And it's
2019 is more recent than 2011.
And it's crazy, too. And I'm not taking anything away from Doug Armstrong, but, like, remember in December, he basically said it's a fire sale for this team. Like, we're done with this team. And the team was the one that turned it around, and Craig Berube. Again, I'm not taking anything away from Doug, but it's not as if there were big trade deadline moves. That team was the one that figured it out, and I think that's just the underlying issue altogether. It's just like the players have to find a way to salvage this. But, yeah, I mean, the original sin is Alex Pietrangelo, and you put yourself – Alex Pietrangelo plus moving on from leaders – that your team wasn't ready to have disappear from that locker room.
We did get a good text. This comes from the 618, and I'll give them the final word on this. Transparency and explaining the why is everything here in St. Louis. We know and understand why Army does what he does. He did what he thought was best to win. Mo, meanwhile, insulted fans. A lot of the moves made no sense, or they purposefully took the lesser player in free agency. Mo's decisions never won a championship. He didn't have a legendary general manager, whose coattails he could, whenever he didn't have a legendary GM whose coattails he could ride off of. Now, I disagree with that last part. He did make decisions that won a championship. In 2011, they won the championship because of John Mozeliak and some of the moves that he made, including that year at the trade deadline. So I completely reject that part of it, but I do think the premise of the text is fair and reasonable, and I think it's real. I do think people did not like the way that John Mozeliak talked to fans. Fair or unfair, justified or unjust, it doesn't matter. A lot of fans felt that way. And they prefer the way that Armstrong presents himself to the media and to fans. And that buys you some goodwill. Again, right or wrong, doesn't much matter. That's the way of the world, right? It's kind of like the politics, like the economy thing. You can either say the whole thing. Like what people feel, you can't tell them how to feel. They feel that just internally. And they felt as though, that's what I was trying to get at there, John Mozeliak was telling them things that they didn't believe. And when Army says stuff, they feel it and they believe it. So I do think that's a big part of this, man. I think it's a feeling thing with Army versus Mo. All right, coming up in about 15 minutes, is there any formula for Mizzou to beat Oklahoma with Matt Zollers as the quarterback on Saturday? We'll get into that in just a little bit. The Junk Drawer next year on 101 ESPN. Alex, you have something for the junk drawer today?
Yeah, buddy, I do. I'm glad you heard me because the Bill Simmons is in the news. Do you guys know why?
I saw this, yeah.
I don't know why.
He proclaimed on his show that the Columbus Blue Jackets are the most irrelevant franchise in professional sports.
I'm curious to hear your
No, I don't have an opinion on
this.
this. I was bringing this up because I'm curious what you guys think is the most irrelevant professional sports team.
I think he's right.
I think he's right, too. Somebody I think it was Koliakovo that tweeted out, can I present to you the Oakland Athletics or the Athletics? And I'm like, yeah, but they won World Series.
They had a movie made about them.
Yeah,
For people that don't watch baseball, one of the only things they may know about the sport from the 2000s is Moneyball.
Yeah, Brad Pitt runs the A's.
A book was written about them, and then a movie was made about them.
So the only ones that I would put in the conversation, would you put the Charlotte Hornets in there?
I would. They've never been good my whole life.
Michael Jordan owns them, which I think makes them. I think that makes them a little more relevant.
And didn't he own them when they were the Charlotte Bobcats, not even the Hornets?
Yeah, I mean, they went through their transition.
So, that was the one, and then New Orleans Pelicans was the other one that I brought up.
Yeah.
But other than that,
those would probably be the two.
And I guess the only
because even Sacramento, they're pretty irrelevant, but they had a big stretch in the early 2000s.
Yeah, because if you're going professional, irrelevant professional sports franchise, you're talking about their history. And the only thing I could say about the Blue Jackets is when they had Rick Nash, they had one of the best hockey players in the game. Now, didn't do anything with it. Made the playoffs, I think, once or twice in their history.
Yeah, they've never made it to the conference finals.
Yeah. So, struggled in that sense. And then
they've never finished above third in their division.
They also had one of the more premier free agents sign a contract with them in terms of Johnny Gaudreau. That's the only, and again, I'm not disagreeing with them because they're pretty irrelevant. I think most times people are like, wait, who? The Columbus who? But I think I also should present the Charlotte Hornets / Bobcats and the New Orleans Pelicans as irrelevant franchise. Those are the only ones.
I think those are the two that you could even throw into the conversation, and I would agree with Bill Simmons. I saw the criticism of this, hockey people were complaining about this being the case, and I think it's just objectively true. I think the Columbus Blue Jackets do not have any history. Who's the most notable Columbus Blue Jackets player in their history?
Rick Nash would.
I was saying, that's the name that came to my mind.
He was one of the more popular players in the NHL for the longest time.
And even then, they weren't that good with him, right?
No, that was when they were because Hitch was coaching there, and that's when they were a playoff team. He's the reason that they have that cannon.
How many times do you think Rick Nash had more than 70 points in a season?
This is unfair. Hockey was defense.
Yeah, I was going to say it was in the era when it wasn't very effective. Plus, he was a power forward. He didn't pick up assists. I'd say once.
One.
Yeah. He wasn't a guy that put up 100 points. He was a guy that put up 40 goals.
Yeah, he did lead the league in goals once.
Yeah. In a defensive brand of hockey.
2004. With 41, and he was 19 years old. So Rick Nash was a really good player. By the way, on Hockey Reference, they go through the top players. You know how they do this on Baseball Reference? They'll show the top wins above replacement. They do something similar for hockey. Who do you think is the number one player?
Similar score to him?
According to Hockey Reference in the history of the Columbus Blue Jackets organization.
Oh.
To Rick Nash?
No, for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
The number one player?
Number one player for them.
I can't even name anybody outside Rick Nash.
Well, part of me wondered if Gaudreau is up there, but he wasn't very good the first couple of years. They had
by point share while they were with the Columbus. Is it the
defenseman that you didn't think was a Blue Jacket?
He's third.
What about
Rick Nash is second.
Artemi Panarin?
Werenski is third. Panarin, is not a part of the top.
It's going to be a name that I should know. But I can't think.
Voracek is somebody that I consider.
Is it a former
Fedorov? Fedorov was there for a year. I mean, that's pretty relevant for a team to get started. Oh, no,
career.
I know. Yeah.
I have no idea. I couldn't guess. If it's not Nash, I had no chance.
Text line mentioned it. One person on the text line.
Alex Texier
has been correct.
I have
Sergei Bobrovsky, who is more known for what he did elsewhere.
I was going to say,
which speaks to the irrelevancy of this organization.
Yes, he's before he won cups in Florida, he was most notably well known for beating the Tampa Bay Lightning in that 2019 playoffs.
And he won a Vezina, a couple of them while he was there.
Yeah,
so he was good.
He was an incredible player. But there's history there. It's just not up to snuff with all of these other histories. That's why I thought of the Charlotte Hornets and the Pelicans, because it's I don't know if I could name a whole lot other than Chris Paul with the Charlotte Hornets early on, right? unless I'm
And
misremembering
he was
that.
with New Orleans.
In New Orleans. Okay, so, oh yeah, not Charlotte, New Orleans.
Yeah. Well, this is where it gets tough. The Hornets were in New Orleans. They moved the franchise to Charlotte, where they then eventually became the Bobcats, and now they're back to being the Hornets
Gotcha.
again.
Okay, so see, that's where the irrelevancy, I guess I could argue, is I don't know how to keep track of those versus the Columbus. But I thought it was interesting, and I was curious if you guys had other teams.
Yeah, the Charlotte or the New Orleans / Charlotte, the New Orleans.
This speaks about
Hornets
irrelevancy
/ Pelicans have also never reached the conference finals. So
yeah.
they are another team that would fit into that criteria. All right, he's Alex S. T-Bone on BK. Coming up next, is there any formula for Mizzou to win on Saturday? We'll talk about it next year on 101 ESPN. You gonna bring this on air?
Yeah, I mean, you might as well. I mean, it's not a junk drawer. I'm just genuinely curious.
I feel like the answer to our question we're about to answer is pretty quick.
I walked past one of the employees in the building, and I didn't say anything, but it's like, it's like that's a really nice smelling perfume. I'd like to buy that for my wife. There's no non-creepy way to ask somebody what perfume they use.
Correct.
That's disappointing because it would have been a really good Christmas gift. Like, I'm always on the lookout for stuff that smells good for my wife. And it's like, it smells really good.
Can you imagine if
it's not like I walked up to her and go, what did you use?
That's definitely not a way that I would go about it.
I'm just genuinely curious.
I'm now uncomfortable.
Why? It's just like it was a nice smelling perfume, and I think my wife would like that.
I think what you're saying is more than reasonable. I'm answering the question you asked, is there a way to do this without sounding creepy? No. Nope, it sounds creepy.
Well, hopefully she's hearing this and being like, maybe he's talking about me, and you can just stop by and let me know.
Just send you a text.
No, don't do that. That's creepy as well.
Send
just
you an email.
Walk into the studio.
It's X, Y, and Z.
Anybody who's working in the building, if you use nice smelling perfume, walk by and just tell me what the color is.
All right, so college football related, Alex. Mizzou does play a football game this weekend.
I thought you were going to give us another freaking update.
No, off the air, I'm just giving them updates from the message boards all day long. It's amazing.
I hate these updates more than anything. Can we please move past it?
Flight Watch is my favorite thing. People get on FlightAware to find out, hey, what are these private jets doing? Oh, there was one earlier today. People were following a jet from Oxford to Baton Rouge, but then they took a detour. They're going to New Orleans now. So.
Don't these people have something better to do with their lives than follow jets?
No.
Like BK at 10 o'clock at night is sending me pictures of planes that are landing in colleges to pick up coaches. I don't care.
So Mizzou is traveling to Oklahoma, I would assume, in a plane this weekend.
Is Drink on it?
Allegedly.
Or is he going to meet them there?
I know it feels so secondary right now because everything in college football is revolving around the coaching carousel.
Yeah, it's not fair to the students.
But it's a really big game. Like for Oklahoma, it's a huge game for them to potentially win. If they win this game, they're probably going to the college football playoff. Next week they play against LSU. I don't know if LSU is even going to have its starting quarterback for that game, and Oklahoma's just flat out better. Is there a scenario where Mizzou wins this game if Matt Zollers is starting? No. Can you envision anything that would lead to them winning this game?
I can't. And I know they just pulled off the win with him, but that felt like a rare occurrence, especially an Oklahoma team, because you're on the road, which is not an easy task in itself, but an Oklahoma team that's feeling really good about themselves, that has an elite defense. The only scenario is your defense wins you this football game. But if I'm putting it into the hands of Zollers, I'm really putting it in the hands of Hardy to carry this team to a victory like they did last week.
T-Bone, before I get to your answer, I do need to let you guys know we're going to play Beat the Blues.
I had a really good, hey, you know what else is a big game? Beat the Blues. Text in right now, 314-399-9646.
That's the Air Comfort Service text line. If you text in, I can beat the Blues. We're going to have a few different contestants today. You'll have an opportunity to win a signed hockey puck and to get some Blues tickets. So Beat the Blues coming up on the other side. T-Bone, for you, is there a case? Can you build it for Mizzou other than like the any given Saturday stuff of, hey, you have 5 turnovers and you return a couple for a touchdown?
Yeah, well, that's crap anyways. No, I don't think there's a case for Mizzou to win this football game at Zollers at quarterback. Now, that doesn't mean, again, that if you think he's the quarterback of the future, I don't think it is the worst case scenario to start him because he needs to get experience like this against this good of a defense because when he does eventually become your starter, this is the kind of teams he's going to have to beat when he has more experience. But I don't see a scenario where you're starting a true freshman against this Oklahoma defense that you mentioned, averages 10 tackles for loss in a game? Good luck. I mean, you're going to have a tough time. I would typically say, hey, just hand the ball off 100 times in this football game. Even then, you're going to have a tough time doing it. At some point, he's going to have to beat that Oklahoma defense with his arm. Mizzou's defense can keep a game close against this kind of Oklahoma offense. But again, at some point, because they're probably going to be on the field so much, they're going to wear down in the second half, just like they did a couple of weeks ago when they lost to Texas A&M. So, no, I don't see a path to where they end up beating Oklahoma this weekend.
Man, it's...
You upset about that, buddy?
No, I mean, he's right. Here are the yards per carry that Oklahoma has allowed in its last, I guess it will be 8 games. 0.9, 1.9, 0.5, 3.8, 1.5, 2.8, 1.8, 2.4. these aren't against like horrible opponents. They did this against Auburn, Texas, South Carolina, Ole Miss, Tennessee, and Alabama.
Yeah,
I mean, they're
good
going
luck.
up against good opponents and holding every single one of them below 4 yards per carry, most of them below 3 yards per carry. I know Ahmad Hardy is awesome. You know who else is really good? Ole Miss and their running game. They have one of the 3 best running backs in the SEC. Guy that previously was at Mizzou, guy that this week was named the National Player of the Week at Ole Miss. They finished, Ole Miss did, with 41 carries for 116 yards.
Jeez.
Ole Miss won that game, but that was what they did on the ground against Oklahoma. That's the formula for Mizzou to win this game is Hardy has to run for like $150. Nobody has done that against them. Not a single team has overall. I'm not talking about a player, a team. Nobody has run for 150 yards this season against Oklahoma's defense. So I'm really struggling to see the scenario that Mizzou was able to win this game. And that's what makes it tough, man. You're watching this game and you're thinking, I would love to build a case, but I think it's you have to allow 13 or fewer points. If Oklahoma scores 14 or more, I don't know how Mizzou does that.
And I would add even a caveat to that. I think you have to allow 13 or fewer points, and the defense has to set up an offensive drive that's inside like the Oklahoma 40. Mm-hmm. And like, good luck with that.
So you don't think Hardy can have happen what happened last week? Not against this defense?
No. I mentioned going into the Mississippi State game, like, this defense isn't good. Mississippi State is not good against the run. It was the biggest weakness that they have. Overall, I think Mississippi State is a better team than people give them credit for. I understand what the record is, guys. I really do. They beat Arizona State earlier this year. They've had some really close games against a bunch of quality opponents on their schedule. Mississippi State's close to being a solid team, but they have a fatal flaw, and it's their run defense, especially explosives. They gave up, I think it's like top 10 in the country in explosive runs allowed on the season. Oklahoma's the opposite. Their run defense is unbelievable. You can do nothing against them. And not only do they stop you in the backfield. This is their tackles for loss in those games that I just mentioned. Against Temple, 11. Against Auburn, 13. Kent State, 13. Texas, 12. South Carolina, 13. Ole Miss, 14 tackles for loss.
Jeez.
Tennessee, 8. Alabama, 5. I mean, their negative yardage that they've had this season. They have 102 tackles for loss. Opposing teams have lost 400 yards against them on these tackles for loss.
It's not bad.
Second in the country in tackles for loss so far this season is Indiana with 93. Third is Texas A&M. But to put this in perspective, Oklahoma has 102, which means that the gap from Oklahoma at number 1 to Texas A&M, who just a couple of weeks ago made Missouri's offense, you guys would agree, look pretty bad. Mm-hmm. So the gap between Oklahoma and that defense, which made Mizzou look bad, is the same as the gap between Oklahoma and Florida State at 38. They're not just good, man. This defense is special. So
Well, the good news is their offense isn't that elite, so
that's why I have Oklahoma as one of my biggest plays for the week, as my 3-point play against the University
How much
of
would it
Missouri.
change if they did have Prebula?
I think it at least gives them another out. Maybe he's because I think he has shown, while it's frustrating at times, he has not been good. He's been average to below average as a passer. He connects more on that short passing game, and it allows them to have the opportunity for yards after catch.
Get it out quickly.
Exactly. Maybe Kevin Coleman has a big game. Maybe Donovan Olubide has a couple of big catches. Maybe Brett Norfleet, they get into the red zone. He's a guy that can break a couple of tackles, and boom, you've scored 20 points. I'm not saying it could give them a big day. He also adds something on the ground where now you can play a little bit more with the zone read stuff. Mm-hmm. It adds an element to their game. Whereas Zollers, I think Zollers can eventually become a really good player. I don't think he's there. And against this kind of a defense, I think it's going to look really bad. And I think he's more likely to throw pick sixes than touchdowns of his own.
Well, at least he'll end up with touchdowns.
Yeah, just for the wrong team. Coming up in 15 minutes, we'll play Believe It or Not. 314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line. You give us a scenario. We will tell you if we are believing it or not here on BK and Ferrario. But coming up next, it is your opportunity to beat the Blues. T-Bone, should we do the obligatory joke here?
Anybody can do that.
Everybody else is, so why don't you? The winner will go home with the signed hockey puck and some tickets to see the St. Louis Blues play. We'll do that next year on 101 ESPN. Alongside Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Every week we play Can You Beat the Blues? We have 3 contestants go up against a Blues player. They will name as many different things in a specific category as they can. Today we have Matthew, Mike, and James on the line. They will be going up against Colton Parayko. The winner, whoever has the highest margin of victory against Colton Parayko, will go home today with a signed hockey puck by Parayko and tickets to see the Blues versus the Ducks. That game is coming up on December the 1st. Alex, it's a fun game. We do this each and every week.
Much fun.
We begin today with Matthew on the line. Matthew, we appreciate you being a part of the show, man. How you doing today?
Great. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing really good, man. Alex, you doing good?
Fantastic.
T-Bone, you doing well?
I'm doing great. By the way, did Matthew not sound like Robert Thomas for a minute there?
Well, Matthew's a little famous, isn't he?
He's the Colonel.
Yeah, Matthew, the Colonel.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yep, Colonel Sanders. There you go. That's the name for everything.
Look, man, you don't sound like Colonel Sanders.
I'm going to try not to do emo for you guys. I'm going to try not to do the emo farms for you guys today.
Emu. If you want to do an emo farm, maybe that's fine. Like a brand of music, emu farm.
Emu farm.
Yeah,
you got it.
The emus on the farm. They've got the swoop over the side of their face.
You and I'm so sorry.
Just exclusively Panic at the Disco playing.
Yeah, there you
and
go.
then BK standing at the farm going, "Oh, it's my favorite song."
All right, Matthew. Do you understand the rules of the game, my friend?
Obviously.
Yeah, I do. And luckily we get Parayko. That's awesome.
Well, all right. What do you think you could beat Parayko? He's like 6'9"
He's just
out
excited to
there.
go up against him. He likes Parayko.
Okay, good.
All right, Matthew. Your category today. Name as many jobs as you can where you would wear a helmet. Jobs as you can that would require you to wear a helmet. On your mark, get set, go.
Baseball player, construction, foreman, landscaper, maintenance, production supervisor, production employee.
Hold on.
Production super. Yeah, you got 6.
What
landscaper's wearing a helmet?
It's raining.
Safety.
Get out of here. Safety.
That,
What, you worried about?
Give it to him.
You worried about a
6.
leaf falling on your head there?
A branch.
Oh, that was a tough one.
It is a tough category, I'll be honest
Didn't say
with you,
football
Matthew.
player, though. Hockey player.
Oh, I
did
could have done that.
Yeah.
It's all right,
like
Matthew.
I hope you win.
Matthew, we like you and your emo farm.
All right, Matthew, we're going to put you on hold. Let's see if Colton Parayko knows any jobs where you'd wear a helmet, including his own.
Bet he says hockey player.
Hockey, baseball, football, firefighting, skeleton and luge, bobsled. I don't know if I'm sure they wear a helmet.
I didn't know what he meant by skeleton, but yes.
Sport.
You got 5?
I had 7.
I had 7. How did you count 5?
Yeah. He
Skeleton, luge, bobsled. That's 3 that he added to the 4.
Yeah, and he already had 4 at the beginning.
No, that's 3 different
Yeah, he
sports.
said football, or he said hockey player, football player,
well,
baseball
I counted
player.
them as one. So.
Start listening. Unbelievable.
That's a -1
You two
for
have been
Matthew.
brutal at the listening thing.
Yeah, well, BK got a
Luca
taste
does
of his
new
own
thing
medicine.
Where he puts his listening ears on and he goes click, click, click.
Oh, mine do that too, and then turn them off real quick. Yeah, mine don't
I need
stay
to
on.
click mine on.
Yeah.
I apologize.
My daughters don't stay on very long.
All right, let's hear from Mike. Mike, how you doing today, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Big Mike.
Doing great, man. Doing great. You understand the rules of the game, Mike?
Yeah, I just love you guys picking on T-Bone, though.
You love us picking on T-Bone? We love it too, Mike.
Mike, I hope you listen.
Mike, your category today. Things that you would find in your refrigerator. Name as many things as you can that you would find in your refrigerator. On your mark, get set, go.
A Sprite, a Coke, a Mr. Pibb, Diet Coke, cheese, salami, meat, oranges, apples, pears, plums, not bananas.
Jeez, Mike. How much
had him
soda
for
do you
one
have in your
life.
fridge?
I was going to say, Mike, do you eat?
I have teenagers.
There you go.
No, I get it.
And if we're being,
None of them like the same thing.
I just didn't know you had any food in there. I just thought it was chock full.
No,
it was
I
like
was
those.
getting
So, Diet Coke, Mr. Pibb, Sprite.
It was like those MTV Cribs videos where you'd walk in like, "This is my fridge, bottled water."
my daughter just went in and got a Sprite about 2
There we
minutes
go.
ago.
Hey,
So.
and let's be honest, it's smart to just pick a little bit of a category and differentiate a little bit while you're looking in the fridge.
If you look at the big ocean, you get lost. You know.
See, that's
Damn, Mike, you're
in
going
the
deep.
lake, I was a school teacher for 36 years.
Thank you, Mike, for all the work in the schools.
All right,
There
Mike.
you go.
Also, get rid of that Mr. Pibb. That stuff's trash, man.
Hey, they made...
Kirsten, they don't like your Mr. Pibb. That was T-Bone that didn't like it.
All right, Mike, we're going to put you on hold. We'll hear if Colton Parayko has much in his fridge other than soda. I'm guessing he doesn't.
Ketchup, mustard, mayo, probably hot sauce, eggs, chicken, steak, some salmon, hopefully, usually. What else we got in there? We got some potatoes, asparagus, apples, oranges. I like nectarines and peaches.
I have 14? Also, he puts potatoes in fridge. Do you guys put potatoes in fridge?
I do not.
No, I mean, mine go in the.
we don't.
Mine go in the. No,
I mean,
like
after they're cooked, yeah.
leftover potatoes go in the fridge. But
That's all right.
All right, 14.
It's a -3 for Mike. Mike, we appreciate you being a part of the
Thanks,
show.
Mike.
You have been eliminated. Matthew, you're still the leader in the clubhouse at a -1. So nobody has beaten Colton
I think
Parayko
Matthew
yet.
might
Let's
have
see
hung
if
up.
James.
Matthew, you
can
better
do
call
that.
back.
James, we appreciate you being a part of the show, man. How you doing today?
I'm good, and yourself?
Doing fantastic. Do you understand the rules of the game, James?
Yes, I do.
All right, James, you're going up against Colton Parayko today in your category. Christmas directions. Christmas decorations. Let's try that again. Name as many Christmas decorations as you can in 15 seconds. On your mark, get set, go.
Yeah, lights, ornaments, tinsel, popcorn, books outside. Got trees, doilies, tablecloth.
Well, Mike, thanks for
That's James.
James. Sorry, you're very confused. Thanks for joining us from outer space.
I had him at 8.
I had him at 8.
I have no idea what he said,
I
but
think
there
he
were
said
8
egg
different
salad.
things that he said.
Did he say egg salad? I think I heard egg salad.
If you think I know what any of that
Sorry,
was.
Sounded
I got
like
an
he was talking to us underwater.
All right.
I had 8.
Well, let's see if Colton Parayko knows his Christmas directions or decorations.
Christmas tree, Christmas lights, maybe some sort of, I don't know, reindeer probably. There's a star probably on the tree, maybe an angel on the tree, mistletoe, I like that one.
I got 6.
I got 6 as well.
So the guy that hung up.
Nope. Don't say what you're about to say. James, congratulations. You won with a +2. Congratulations, James.
Did it?
Yes, he did.
Why are you so bad at
on.
math?
You suck at this every week.
Oh, never mind.
Why are you so bad
Never mind.
at this?
Congrats,
Never mind.
James.
I
Stay on the line,
I
James.
saw the -3 and thought he was +3. I didn't know that was a -3. And I'm like, wait a minute, that's only 2. Mike had 3. Never mind. Way to go, James.
Oh, he's so bad at this. He
Fly
doesn't
out.
pay attention. He doesn't listen to the show.
Now we're calling the kettle black there, aren't we, BK?
Congratulations
I
to
think you're
James.
worse.
We do this
we're
each
all
and every
bad.
week. If you would like to try to beat the Blues, you can do so in 2 weeks from now, I think, or maybe next week. I don't know.
we're not here
We'll do
on
it
next
on Wednesday
Wednesday.
next week.
Next Wednesday, you'll have your opportunity
Pre-Turkey Day.
to beat the Blues as well.
That one's
Colton
a Robert
Parayko signed
Thomas.
hockey puck and tickets to see the Blues versus the Ducks. That was James' prize today. Hey, 101 ESPN later on today is going to have your shot to score a pair of tickets to see Motley Crue with special guests Tesla and Extreme. That's coming up on August the 19th. We'll give you a chance to win those tickets coming up later on today in our show. But next, time for Believe It or Not here on BK and Ferrario. Hey, it's BK for my friends at Victory Men's Health, and it is time for you to unlock your inner champion. That means different things for different people. For you, maybe that's weight loss goals that you're trying to meet. Maybe you've been dealing with erectile dysfunction. It is time to get that corrected for you. They can help you out over at Victory Men's Health. They have all different kinds of things that they can offer for you. Check it all out at victorymenshealth.com. 4 great locations across the St. Louis area. They want to help you unlock your inner champion. To book that first appointment, go onto their website, victorymenshealth.com, put in your name, email, phone number, tell them BK with 101 ESPN sent you, and then tell them what it means for you to unlock your inner champion. You'll go to that first appointment. They'll listen to all of the things that you have to say. They'll give you their advice on it, and then you can decide what's best for you. Vitamin infusion programs. They have a supplement shop. That is something that's really helped out for me unlock my inner champion. They send me all of the stuff that I need. I got my micronutrient lab done over there. They found out here's where you're deficient, here's where you're good. They send me a personalized micronutrient packet in the mail every single month. That's helped me unlock my inner champion. They can do the same thing for you. It's all at Victory Men's Health and online at victorymenshealth.com.
Tanner Hendrickson here, the Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Blues back in action tonight as they visit the Philadelphia Flyers. We'll have pregame coverage starting at 5 o'clock with Alex Ferrario, then puck drop at 6 o'clock with Chris Kerber and Joey Vitale. The Sports Center update is brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so
free, flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be?
Believe it or not, it's just me.
314-399-9646. That's the Air Comfort Service text line for Believe It or Not. You guys give us the scenario. We will tell you if we are believing it or not here on 101 ESPN. Guys, believe it or not, sweaters are actually the best thing to wear this time of year.
Not out, whatever we are.
Today's a vest day.
Yeah,
I agree with the call by Alex. I think
I'm not a vest guy. I don't think I can pull it off.
I'm not a
quarter zips.
I'm not a thick sweater guy. I think thick sweaters suck. I'm either a hoodie or one of those
like
thin V-neck sweaters.
Yeah, that one's fine.
This count?
I'm still convinced that's the one you wore yesterday.
Yeah, I think that is the one you wore yesterday. Wash your freaking clothes, man.
I see you do laundry at home.
Yeah, sweaters aren't like jeans where you could wear them 7 different times. How many times do you wear jeans before you put them in the wash?
2 to 3.
Believe it or not, I don't wash my jeans every time I wear them.
There's no chance you wear your jeans more
I
than
actually
once.
do.
That's the most shocking thing you've ever said on this show.
I actually do. I wear jeans probably 3 or 4 times before I throw them in the wash.
You wash your sheets after every use.
Yep.
But
no, not every use. I said 2 to 3 times. If I have a sweaty night, then it needs to go in the wash. Really simple. Sometimes I sweat when I sleep.
I have a sweaty night.
Sometimes I sweat when I sleep, man. Sometimes my wife sweats when she sleeps. This happens. You got to get new sheets out there.
Okay.
Timo, what do you got for us today?
You gotta come up with
We
one?
both used ours. He used the sweater. I used the sheets.
Oh. I was still thinking of mine over here.
Way to be prepared.
Yeah,
314-399-9646 is the Air Comfort Service text line from the 314. Believe it or not, they're on the opposite side of the bracket. We will get a rematch of last year's college football national championship.
Timo, are you like me, wondering who was in the championship?
Well, Notre Dame, Ohio State, right?
I was remembering Ohio State. I didn't remember who they played.
Yeah,
I'm going to say not believe this. I don't think Notre Dame is good enough to get there.
I concur.
Yeah, I agree. I would not.
I also don't
believe
think Ohio State is good enough to get there. I think Indiana's better than Ohio State.
it. Yeah.
Those are the two teams that I think are in that top tier.
I'm with you there, but I would imagine do you think they'll be on the same? They'll be on the same bracket, right? Ohio State and Indiana.
I don't know. It's so hard to know right now with how the seeding will play out on where these
That'd be
teams
fun.
will
Ohio
go.
State and Indiana. That'd be a fun national championship.
Believe it or not, the Blues will salvage this season as a wild card team.
No.
The hell with it. I'll say believe it. I don't think Chicago is going to be a playoff team. I don't think Chicago stays in this playoff hunt.
I don't either. I think the Oilers will get in the playoff.
Who's stopping the puck for the Oilers?
They haven't stopped the puck for 3 years, and they get to the Cup final.
It's never been this bad. Blues will get there.
The Blues don't have a superstar to pull them back into the fight like a McDavid, a Bedard, a Celebrini. Even I'll give San Jose a better shot. So
Dude, that team might make the playoffs.
That guy's a
also
stud.
Minnesota, who's holding on to a spot.
When we saw him the first time, we all left that game being like, that dude's different.
Yep.
I don't know how long it's going to be before they get good again, but that guy is a franchise caliber player that you build everything
And the
around.
crazy part is, like, all of their guys just, like, expedited to the NHL. Like this Will Smith that's playing for them. He was drafted I think he was drafted in that draft with Dvorsky.
Yep.
You're talking about that Eklund, this Michael Misa, who's on IR right now. But they also just took in everyone else's scraps and they put together a, like, team of misfits. So they're going to be a dangerous one.
Olov, Skinner, they've got a Klingberg.
But it all comes down to the goalie, too. Like
Adam Gaudette.
Yeah. Remember when Bannister's like, he's not good enough to play for our team?
He's gone on to have a pretty good
last
NHL
year he
career.
was awesome in Ottawa, but all of this stems from the conversation we were talking about yesterday. What's harder, finding the superstar or the goalie? Well, they found a superstar young goalie in Oskarov. Like, when Nashville traded that guy away, that expedited their rebuild faster.
And they got the superstar player.
Yeah.
So they've got both of them.
Which sometimes you find them at the top of the pick, sometimes you don't.
Will Smith, by the way, he's having a really good season for them.
Love his movie.
20 points in 20 games, so he's a point per game player.
I think
Man, it'd be really nice if the Blues had a guy.
Well, I think he's also on the line with Celebrini. So when you play with a superstar, you become a superstar.
It doesn't hurt. Believe it or not, this road trip for the Blues is their last chance.
I'm not going to say last chance. This is probably their best chance to pull themselves back out of this. I think you got to find a way to get 3 to 4 wins on this road trip and lose a couple in overtime.
I don't think there's a move to be made right now.
Yeah, I will believe this. If you can't figure it out on this road trip, where they are even trying to sell this idea of like team bonding, yeah,
It worked in the first game.
then not that they lost.
They were close.
I don't think so. I'm not going to puff you know what up here. You know what? I think this is your last hope. You don't come out of this road trip like 5-2 or whatever it is, 5-1, 4-2.
There's only 5 games.
I thought it was 6.
No, there's only 5 games.
Oh, you don't come with 4-1.
It's impossible for them to
out.
come out 5-2.
Believe it or not,
You got
Nathan
the
Walker.
point.
You can't be 4-1. You just lost the game in overtime.
Last
Or
thing here
0-1.
from Big Steve. Nathan Walker will finish the season with more goals than Pavel Buchnevich. It is currently true. It feels hard to believe, but it is indeed true. He has 3. Buch has 2. Believe it or not, Walker has more than Buch this year.
I'm going to say not because I just feel like I can't believe this.
There's no way that can happen.
If that happens, then you might need to buy out Pavel Buchnevich's contract.
Correct.
Yeah, I'm not going to believe this. Even though I don't know that Buch can be the guy he was that first year he was here, He's not going to get out.
Maybe he gets to 20. I don't know if he gets past 20, though.
I don't know.
Unless he goes on a hot streak.
At this point.
Yeah.
It is the final week of the Countdown to Thanksgiving campaign to benefit the Operation Food Search. It's hosted by Lee's Famous Chicken, Hot Shots, Coca-Cola, and 101 ESPN. Drop off a non-perishable food item at any Lee's or Hot Shots location now through this Friday, and every donation earns you a free Coca-Cola beverage. All of that food will then be collected and donated to Operation Food Search to help the local families in need. Each donor will also then be entered to win a prize that includes gift cards to Lee's, Hot Shots, as well as Blues tickets. All of the details can be found right now at 101ESPN.com. Coming up next, we're going to hit the rewind and give you a shot to score a pair of tickets to see Motley Crue. That's coming up on August 19th. We'll give you that chance next year on 101 ESPN.
Tanner Hendrickson here in Missouri. Big news. It's almost your turn to get in the game because DraftKings Sportsbook is coming to the Show Me State on December 1st. Soon you'll get fast payouts when you win, a safe and secure app that's easy to use, and promos that keep the action going all season long. No wonder it's America's top-rated sportsbook app. So the countdown is on. New customers can sign up right now and score $300 in bonus bets on launch day. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use my code TANNER. That's code TANNER. As new Missouri customers, sign up today and score $300 in bonus bets once we're live in less than 2 weeks. That's code TANNER. The crown is yours. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 plus, physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Subject to regulatory licensing requirements. Bonus bets are non-withdrawable and expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Alongside Alex and T-Bone on BK. If you guys missed anything from today's show, be sure to check it out on the podcast page, 101ESPN.com, and the free 101 ESPN app is where you go to find it. It's all sponsored by
Schaefer Door Company.
151, your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Coming up in 5 minutes, we'll give you a shot to score a pair of tickets to see Motley Crue with special guests Tesla and Extreme. That's coming up on August 19th. Tickets will go on sale officially Friday at 9 a.m., but we've got your chance right here on BK and Ferrario to win those tickets coming up here in just a few minutes. To finish out the show today, we end where we began. Alex, the Blues are expected to get Jake Neighbours back into the lineup tonight. We heard from Joey Vitale earlier today. He said he thinks it's going to be Neighbours with Thomas and Snuggerud on that top line. He also said it is his belief that Pavel Buchnevich will be in the lineup tonight. What do you think about the Blues as they get Neighbours back into the lineup and have seemingly Pavel Buchnevich in it?
I think it's awesome that he's back this soon. I think even Montgomery said earlier today he wasn't even expected to come back until maybe next week in one of those games against the Devils or the Rangers. Tells you how bad he wants to get back into the lineup. And look, if you're hopeful that this team can turn it around, this is kind of your last-ditch effort to get Jake Neighbours back. He's an energy player. He's a guy that's going to eat 18, 19 minutes a night for you, and he's going to play on this top line tonight with Snuggerud and Thomas. He goes to the front of the net, which I can say probably only two players other than Neighbours on this team's willing to do. You hope that this is the spark that they need. After Falk made the comment of the bench being really quiet in a game that they were down, Neighbours provides more there. So you get a guy back who's a spark plug. Is it going to translate into on ice, specifically late in games? I have no idea. But regardless, you hope you could capitalize on the adrenaline of getting Neighbours back into the lineup tonight against Philly.
Yeah, and I, like you said, it's maybe the biggest thing for me. This is the roster reinforcement that's coming. There is nothing else that I think is on the horizon.
Hey, they got Logan Mailloux.
Yeah, like I said, this is the last roster upgrade that's coming because those calls that we keep seeing that are reported constantly of, hey, Army's calling the league, I don't think he's calling for reinforcements. I think he's calling, getting ready to start the fire sale. So if you don't turn it around now because you're getting this boost with Neighbours, I think Army's just going to say, you know what, time to pull the plug. This team's not going to figure it out.
Yeah, this is how you get worse, not better. And if you make those trades, it's not Cam Fowler coming through that door, it's draft picks. It's, hey, congratulations, now you get to see some of the younger players that get to be added into this lineup. Or maybe you go to waivers, right? Like Alexandre Texier was placed on waivers by the Blues today. The next time that another team makes one of those moves, the Blues could be the team that's in desperation mode, and they add the next version of Alexandre Texier, Jakub Vrana, Kapanen, those kinds of guys. That's the type of player that'll be filling out the lineup for the Blues if they were to go that direction. I don't think we're there yet. I think we've got a little bit of time before we get to that
You're
place.
not there till post-Thanksgiving.
So we've got some time, but this is a huge road trip for the Blues, and it starts tonight in Philadelphia. Blues on the road at the Flyers. Pre-game with Alex starts at 5 o'clock. Puck drop for that one tonight at 6 right here on 101 ESPN. T-Bone, your Illini had a big game last night against the Alabama Crimson Tide. What did you learn about your basketball team as they went up against it? In my opinion, a legit top 10 team in the country.
Yeah, that Alabama team's awesome. And I'm not frustrated with the loss because I think they played well. I still have my concerns of if they're not making their three-point shots, who's the guy that they can go to that can get to the basket and create offense for them? Stojakovic is a guy that did it, but he's not elite at it. Neither is Boswell. They're good, but they're not elite. And you saw when they didn't hit their three-point shots for that first, 5 to 10 minute stretch in that second half, it's what allowed Alabama to pull away from that game, get that 10-point lead, and then they never look back. So that's my biggest question for them as they continue across this season.
A reminder, you can always check out the Last Minute Blues podcast over at youtube.com/101ESPNSTL. They posted a new podcast yesterday that is up for you guys right now to watch. Also a Redbird report over there. Latest edition of the Spread Zone was posted over there yesterday as well. Stalter trying to get some redemption this week, so you can check all of that out. youtube.com/101ESPNSTL. And for those of you that stuck with us up until the end of the show today, now is your chance to score a pair of tickets to see Motley Crue with special guests Tesla and Extreme on August 19th. Again, an opportunity to buy those tickets. Sale will start at 9 a.m. on Friday, but right now we've got your chance to win on BK and Ferrario. 314-399-9646 is the Your Comfort Service text line. If you are texter number 101 with the correct answer to the following question, you're getting those tickets to see Motley Crue on August 19th. Earlier today, we mentioned who we believe to be the most irrelevant team in all of pro sports. You knew where I was going
with this. One brain cell.
Who is that team?
For both of us.
Literally, we just have one between the two of us.
Yeah.
If you have the correct most irrelevant team in professional sports. And your texture number 101, you are going home with those pair of tickets to see Motley Crue on August 19th. T-Bone is out tomorrow. We will be back in. Myself and Alex Ferrario, we will be broadcasting live tomorrow from the Centene Community Ice Center. So we will have our reaction to tonight's game between the Blues and the Flyers. For Alex and T-Bone, I'm BK. Talk to you guys tomorrow at 11 a.m. The Fast Lane's coming up next here on 101 ESPN.